Good evening, everyone. Before we begin the regular City Council meeting open session, I would like to remind members of the audience that anyone wishing to speak during public comment must obtain a number card from the city clerk. If you did not obtain a number card and wish to speak, please proceed to the back of the room and the city staff will issue you a number card. Lining up during public comment will not be permitted, and each speaker should remain in their seat until their number is called. The time clock will begin when you begin your comments. A language interpreter is available in person for members of the public requiring language interpretation. In order to ensure that non-English speakers receive the same opportunity to directly address the City Council, the City of Downey will continue to follow Government Code Section 54954.3, Section B, Section 2, and provide non-English speakers double the allotted time to make their public comments utilizing the interpreter. Please proceed to the back of the room to obtain an interpretation headset. Per the City Council's meeting rules and for fire regulations, all persons shall remain seated unless addressing the council or entering or leaving the chambers. Standing in the aisles or along the walls is not permitted. There is overflow seating available in the lobby in the back if there are no available seats in the chambers. Please proceed to sit in the lobby. So right now I would like to call to order. I'd like to call to order the regular City Council meeting open session, and the time is 6:32. City Clerk Duarte, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Frometa.
Present.
Councilmember Ortiz.
Present.
Councilmember Trujillo.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Pemberton.
Here.
And Mayor Sosa is excused.
Thank you. Our invocation will be by Pastor Michael Gutierrez, Redeemer Covenant Church, and our flag salute will be by our Fire Chief, Anthony Hildebrand. Pastor Michael.
Good evening, Council. Would you pray with me? Dear God, we thank you. We thank you that you are in this room with us here tonight, God. You are present to us. You are not far off from us, somewhere distant in heaven, God, but you are infinitely close to us, Lord. I pray tonight as the council meets to discuss and plan and strategize, God, I pray that you would be with them. God, in this trying time in our nation, in this trying time in our world, God, I pray that you would be with them and unify them as a council that is seeking to do best for those who live and work and play in Downey, God. God, I pray that you would continue to bless this city, continue to bless this city with much flourishing, God, much flourishing in safety, God, much flourishing with the economy, God, much flourishing with recreation, God. I pray that you would have your hand on this city, God. Continue to work in this city as you have for so many years, God. I pray that you would continue that work. I pray that tonight would be a piece of that continuing work, God. As the city council decides and plans, God, I pray that they would be a piece of the continued work of this great city tonight, God. We thank you, Lord, and we praise your name. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Gutierrez. At this time, we'll have our flag salute by our Fire Chief.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
She's in a hurry. She's always in a hurry. You're always in a hurry. I know, I heard that. Council member comments and announcements will be heard following the consent calendar tonight so that the public comment may be taken earlier.
Tim, if I have a minute, I'd like to maybe make a statement if I could.
Okay.
We have a few folks I know that are going to be here this evening that will have questions during public comment. Primarily, I think it's going to be related to the immigration enforcement actions that have been going on in the city's involvement about that. I wanted to maybe provide some context that might be helpful for some folks. That's okay?
Yes.
So obviously in the recent weeks, there has been an increase in federal immigration enforcement activity here in the city of Downey and throughout Southern California. Obviously, that's created a lot of concern and uncertainty for a lot of folks here within our community. Of course, it's important that we continue to support and sustain each other. But I wanted to talk about a couple of things that, at least two particular issues, that I think will be helpful for folks to clarify. One is, of course, the city's involvement. How do we get involved with ICE-related actions? And of course, what can we do potentially to if there's certain action taking place? So we do have multiple agencies, federal agencies that have been working here in the city, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Marshals, DEA. So there's a host of different folks that have been coming through, working within the community. But I did want to clarify that the city does not, according to state law, assist or collaborate or have any contracts or resources that we provide to ICE or to any immigration enforcement actions that are here in the city. That's related to, again, the California Values Act, the Trust Act, the Truth Act, as well as various government, penal, and health and safety codes. Of course, though, if there is any safety issues that might arise from those actions, we do go out and help and assist if there's somebody in danger or other things like that. So, but we do not, again, provide any resources or assistance to any enforcement actions that are taking place within our community. Just again to kind of highlight some things that these enforcement actions can include. Target enforcement may occur at residences, businesses, or within neighborhoods under a judicial or administrative warrant. These actions may be based on deportation orders or suspicion of criminal activity. So there may be a two-pronged investigation that's being undertaken. Those operations can include questioning of individuals who are not the primary targets, as well as it could include conducting consensual stops at the scene. So we have seen both types of that activity here within the community. There also have been concerns with the number of agencies. They might have different looks, different ways of organizing themselves, about the validity of those agents. I will say that the city has no verifiable reports of individuals impersonating any immigration enforcement agents in our community. They must have a warrant signed by a judge to lawfully enter a residence or any non-public areas of a business. I will say that if you have concerns regarding an individual posing as a federal agent or you're worried about your safety, you can contact Downey PD. However, if, this is the second point I wanted to make sure it's clear, an individual is confirmed to be a verified agent, Downey PD does not have the authority to intervene, and that's according to federal law. So according to state law, we are not authorized to help or assist. According to federal law, we are not authorized to intervene. We do have some resources available that we've put on our website that might be helpful to folks. If you go to www.downeyca.org/your-rights, you can get information on individual rights, frequently asked questions that have been out there, resources, and official city statements and other press releases are also posted there as well. The county does have resources such as workshops, webinars, and legal resources that can be found at www.oia.lacounty.gov. We do have some Know Your Rights cards that are being provided at the library if you want to get some of those. But again, regarding your rights, it is being shared on the city's social media channels as well. I will say that, as I mentioned, these are federal agencies being involved. Primarily, it's a federal issue. So if there are concerns about advocating for issues that you see, that really is a federal place. There's a federal way to do that. So you can go to our federal representatives and talk to them. We have our senators, our Congress individuals, Congressman Garcia and Congresswoman Sanchez, that help represent us, as well as you can talk to the agencies themselves to express concerns. And we have contact information for the Department of Homeland Security and Immigration and Customs Enforcement posted at our website. I will say that, again, that if you have a loved one that's being detained, and we put this on our website for more than 48 hours, you can visit the ICE online detainee location system at www.locator.ice.gov. And finally, I just wanted to make sure I reiterate. So there's two things I think we get a lot for questions. Is one, does the city providing assistance to DICE, any resources there? We do not. But again, we cannot also intervene on their enforcement actions that would be against the law. It could be a felony, obstruction of justice. So those are things that we cannot participate in. So anyway, I hope that helps. I know there'll be some questions, comments later on this evening about that, and hopefully that gives a little context before those we take that session over. And I can lose my comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, City Manager Bradley.
If I may, Roger, based on your comments, I think I'll bring this up now.
Well, I'm going to go, let's get the business at hand before we get into our...
No, I'd like to make a motion now, because based on what our city manager just said, which is all correct, I want to let you know that I think it's absolutely horrendous what this federal agency is doing to the city, and I would like to pursue a lawsuit against the federal government. But we can't discuss those things today because we have to follow the rules. So I'm calling for a special meeting, and we can proceed. I'd like to make a motion for a special meeting for this council to finally speak up against the injustices as a body, right? Because, I would like to have a special meeting, and Mr. City Attorney, I want to talk about everything possible we can do to let the feds know that what they're doing is unacceptable. I want to talk about lawsuits, formal complaints. I want to talk about workshops for our residents and how we can prepare them. I want to talk about creating a fund for impact. I want to talk about a lot of things because silence is complicity. We must speak up. So I would like a special meeting as soon as possible because I have a community of folks who are upset. They want to see action by this council, and I have an obligation to speak up. So can I get a second for a special meeting so we can talk about these things and figure out if collectively the city council wants to do something? Is there a second for a special meeting?
I'll second that for a second.
Thank you. When should we schedule it? What do we need to do to schedule the meeting, Mr. City Manager and Attorney?
I would just clarify that the city's protocol and procedures for special meetings are provided for in our rules of decorum in city meetings, and we would ordinarily follow those. That matter was not agendized for tonight's agenda, so we ordinarily would not be able to discuss it. But I would defer to the city's rules for special meetings that would ordinarily govern the convening of a special meeting on any topic.
And my understanding is any member of this council can call for a special meeting. Is that not correct?
It is ordinarily called for by the presider of the legislative body, but a member may call for one. It's ordinarily not done by motion, but according to the rules of the city's decorum, the decorum rules of meeting procedures.
Okay, so you have a motion and you have a second. What's next? I would like to schedule this meeting. Why can't we do this today?
Well, we can agendize it for the future meeting.
The process for future agenda items is the first and a second. If you want to put something on the agenda immediately now, you'd need a third in order to say that this is going to be taken up in the near future.
Okay, so then I'm going to ask the council, for one of the other two members of the council, hopefully you agree that the community wants to hear from us to see if we think this is okay. You have other cities that are speaking up. I've been approached by the city attorney of Los Angeles. I understand that she is possibly seeking litigation and is looking for cities that may join. I want to join. So let's discuss that. And I hope another member of this body will agree that we need to address this. We cannot remain silent. And while obviously we got to follow the law, our community is hurting, and we have an obligation to call out the federal government. Of course, we're not going to interfere, but we need to call them out. What they're doing is absolutely horrible, and we need to speak up. So can I get a third? Ms. Frometa or Ms. Pemberton, one of you would have to agree to a meeting as soon as possible so we can come up with a collective plan of action to address the violations that are occurring daily in our community, to address the fears of this community.
Okay, Madam Chair, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I would like to say a few words, if I may.
Yes, please.
Local governments, and this is not a position that we need to be placed in right at this moment. We were going to have our council comments towards the end. But as you know, local governments and as elected officials, along with law enforcement agencies, we're currently facing the brunt of the anger, the frustration, and the fear that many in our communities are experiencing as a result of the federal immigration and customs enforcement raids throughout Los Angeles County. When California officially became a sanctuary state,
I'm
through the
sorry,
California
Councilwoman
Values
Fermetta.
Act,
I did not. No.
I
need to know if you're going to vote yes or no for a special meeting. We can make our comments later.
The same way you.
I will make my comments later.
No, the same way you had an opportunity to speak, Councilmember Trujillo.
Those are now my comments.
I will continue my speech for the next 60 seconds. Our immigration system is broken. There is no question about that. And the last meaningful immigration reform that took place was in 1986. In 2006, it was brought up again by the Bush administration. In 2012, it was brought up again by the Obama administration. Then again with President Biden, then again with President Trump. We have, again, parties playing politics with the lives of millions of people. We have over 12 million illegal or undocumented immigrants across the United States. Local governments, we want to help. Absolutely we do. The question here is joining a lawsuit against the federal government. I want to let you know that in the raids and in the protests that took place in the city of Los Angeles about 2 weeks ago, $29 million were spent based on the figures that Mayor Bass shared with Angelenos. $29 million for LAPD, that was not in the budget. We can, as local governments, it is our duty to defend and protect our communities, while also it is our duty to defend the law. My comment tonight, and where I would like to see this city, not because I want to get us into a federal lawsuit and waste taxpayers' dollars that are here for our communities. What we need to do collectively is call on our administrations to do the immigration reform that is needed. It's been 40 years, and you think that we at the local level can, if Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom have not been able to arm force President Trump and his administration with this particular situation, Councilmember Trujillo and Councilmember Ortiz, what makes you think the city of Downey or the city of Los Angeles has a chance at suing the federal government? We need collectively, rather than spending our taxpayers' dollars, and by the way, Mayor Bass said those $29 million that were spent by the LAPD controlling the protests and the riots that ensued, that is money that is coming out of the reserves. And so Governor Newsom also indicated that over $8 billion with a B, will have to be borrowed somewhere else from our state budget to cover Medi-Cal for undocumented immigrants. The question here is, as an immigrant myself, is not whether we want to help or not. Of course we want to help. Yes, you can laugh, ladies and gentlemen. We don't make federal law, Councilmember Trujillo.
Is that a yes or a no? I actually agree with you. I mean, I actually, no. I actually agree with council.
Excuse me. We have a few speakers here. I want to move this meeting forward.
Yes,
I
I
will
think
be a
that this-
third to
yes.
discuss it, and
No,
this will be a private
no,
discussion.
Partisan
Okay,
warfare.
so we have a third.
Partisan warfare has
Hold
no
on, we have a
place.
third. We have a motion.
Do you have? Are you voting?
That we have a closed session meeting to discuss the options. That's all that we are doing, and that's all that you are saying, correct?
That's correct. Thank you, Mayor Pemberton. Mayor Pro Tem Pemberton, how soon can we meet?
We'll get that on the records.
No, I want to do it now. I need a date now because
We can't.
we go in the back. No, yes, we can.
Councilman Trujillo, we.
This is to set, no, Mayor Pro Tem Pemberton, it is very simple. We take out our calendars and we get to work. Because I know it's going to happen. If we leave here, you guys are going to throw all kinds of things. We're here. We can set a special council meeting. Let's set it.
We have, Councilmember
available
Trujillo,
Monday and Tuesday.
we have a body, we have some business to conduct, we will get to it, we have it on record, we need to move forward so we can get to hear the rest of the public, okay?
So we will set
We
today?
will set it, not today, right now, maybe after the meeting or at a break, but let's move forward, okay?
It has to be before the end of this meeting. That's all I'm asking.
Well, I think also we need some time as staff to prepare for it.
No, staff,
But, you know.
we don't need a staff report for this, Roger. We have this. No, we don't. I disagree. We don't have to necessarily get a staff report. But Mayor Pro Tem, I'm going to, as long as we address that, I want to leave here letting the people know that this council is going to meet to discuss things like immigration reform. I think that's a fantastic point that Councilwoman Fermetta brings up. We should, in that letter, because we're going to do something, I hope. But look, we may not do anything because we're going to meet as a body and we're going to vote, and we may come out with nothing because that's the way democracy works. But I want to let you know that it will be a frank discussion amongst us, and we'll see what we decide what we're going to do as a city. That's all I can say, right? I think that's fair for us to meet collectively to discuss these things, which we have not had an opportunity to do. I don't know how my other colleagues feel on certain things. I could tell you how I feel about them, but, and again, disclaimer, any statements you're going to hear later on from me, because I'm going to call it like it is. This is racism. This is racist, right? But listen, we have rules and laws, but my community is upset. I need to get to the work of advocating for them and speaking up for them because we cannot remain silent.
All right, we will be moving forward. We have discussed this issue right now. Let's go into the rest of our
Just one
agenda.
thing, just to
Yes.
clarify. Mayor and council, and for members of the public, I just did want to clarify the procedures for calling a special meeting are being followed tonight here on the dais. They are provided by City Charter Section 507. And that provides that any three members of the council at any time may call a special meeting, provided that at least 24 hours notice be given. The actual scheduling of that meeting is certainly deferred to the council for availability and in order to meet the notice requirements that are specified in the city charter. I just did want to clarify that, that procedure under the city charter section. Again, the reference is 507.
507. Thank you, City Manager, City Attorney. There are no presentations this evening, so we will pass on that. We will now move to the first item of business on the agenda. There's going to be public hearing on 3 items. There are 3 public hearings this evening. Number 1 is adoption of the proposed budget for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, and that council conduct a public hearing considering the adoption of the city's fiscal year 2025-26 annual budget and appropriations limit, the GAN limit. And number 2, adopt resolution number 258302, adopting the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget and annual appropriations limit, the GAN limit. The hour having arrived, the public hearing is now open. The time is 6:54. City Clerk Duarte, do you have proof of publication?
I do, Mayor Pro Tem.
Can I have a motion and a second to receive and file the publication?
So moved.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
City Manager Bradley, is there a staff report?
Yes, we have our Assistant City Manager who will provide the report.
Thank you, City Manager Bradley. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and members of the City Council. Thank you for affording us the opportunity to share the proposed fiscal year 25-26 operating budget for City Council adoption. The preparation of the city's proposed budget involves hundreds of staff hours and efforts from all departments. We would like to thank our department heads, department budget coordinators, the finance team, and the City Manager budget team for the development of this year's budget. I would also like to note that this year's budget marks the 13th consecutive balanced budget for the city. Before we begin with the overview of the fiscal year 25-26 budget, we wanted to provide a brief background as to how we got here. Each year, the city starts the budget process with a public meeting, a city council goal-setting retreat, where the city council discusses ongoing programs, community needs, and new initiatives for the upcoming budget year. After the retreat, city staff then work on developing the proposed budget, incorporating approved goals, along with ongoing programs and CIP projects. Once a final draft of the proposed budget was developed, the City Council's Budget Subcommittee then reviews the budget and associating documents. And we'd like to thank the Budget Subcommittee for their detailed review of the budget documents proposed. Following the review of the Budget Subcommittee, a public budget workshop meeting was held where a presentation of the budget was given and department heads provided a presentation of their current year achievements and also goals for the upcoming budget year. Tonight is the formal adoption of the proposed fiscal year 25 budget. All data remain the same from the previous budget workshop that I just mentioned, with the exception of a reduction of $20,000 in expenditures of the general fund. The following slides will provide more details regarding the proposed budget. So this is a breakdown of the schedule of the public meetings that we had and the strategies of the timeline to get to the public adoption. So the proposed appropriations for all funds. The city's total proposed appropriations for all funds, which is estimated at $325 million. The overall budget is an increase of roughly $40 million, or approximately 14% when compared to the adopted fiscal year 24-25 budget. All funds sit at $107 million. This accounts for the city's enterprise funds, such as water and golf course, and also special revenue funds, which are various state and federal grants. These monies can only be used for specific purposes related to grants and enterprise funds. I should also note that all funds includes Measure S and Measure D. Beginning last year, to enhance transparency related to the use of Measure S and Measure D, they are now treated as special revenue funds and restricted in use, primarily for public safety-related expenditures. The primary increase under all funds is related to new revenues deriving from newly passed Measure D. Under capital projects, it sits at $102 million, which is a 9.5% increase over last year. This increase is due to an increase in grants received and the associating projects expected to be completed in the upcoming fiscal year 25-26 budget cycle. And it also demonstrates the city's commitment to addressing community needs, such as residential streetlight program, alley improvements, paving, stop signs, etc. Lastly, regarding the general fund, it is listed at $116 million, which will be discussed in more detail in the following slides. This slide is an executive summary of the city's current general fund and where the fund is expected to end at June 30th, 2026. We are estimated a $43 million fund balance on June 30th, 2026. But when removing non-spendable monies as identified in the most recent ACFR, and just for clarity, non-spendable monies refers to items that are not backed by cash and cannot be converted into resources, such as prepaid notes and loans, etc. The city's fund balance then, when removing those items, are listed at $34.4 million. So this slide lists the current general fund reserve requirements set by the city policy. To provide additional background, the city's reserve policy states that the general fund reserves consist of a total of emergency reserves and stability reserves. Emergency reserves is for the purpose of sustaining the city's operations in the case of an unforeseen catastrophic event, such as an earthquake. And the stability reserve is established to provide a bridge in the event of an unexpected significant loss of revenue or unanticipated major expenditures that are realized. The target level for total general fund reserves is set at 35% according to the city's policy, with considering the three most average annual audited general fund operating revenues. The emergency reserves is set at 15%, and the stability reserve is set at 20%. When comparing to the projected fund balance that was listed on the previous slide, it is anticipated that the city's current reserve fund balance will be at 33%. I do want to note that there are some items that are impacting the general fund reserve balance. Those are primarily related to settlements. Similar to other agencies, the city has seen an increase in claims, and the city staff continues to monitor the general fund level, and especially with anticipated projects related to the Southeast Gateway Line and economic development projects. On the next slide, we'll see a summary of all city revenues, which demonstrates an approximate increase of $14 million, 6% year over year. For all funds, the primary drivers are new revenues coming in from Measure D and CIP one-time funding for the Space Center and other city improvements. All their funds are restricted, again, and are related to special revenue and enterprise funds as discussed earlier. The general fund will be discussed on the next slide. So general fund estimated revenues. Here's a listing of a breakdown of the general fund revenue sources, listed by the top to the lowest in some areas. The key drivers for city revenues are property tax and sales and use tax. You'll notice that while property tax and sales and use tax demonstrate a 3.68 and 3.96% increase over the adjusted, their increases are much more conservative when compared to year end. This past year, the city experienced some one-time gains in investments, sales of property proceeds, and increases in other revenue sources that are not expected to continue in the upcoming year. Additionally, with the current economic uncertainty, market fluctuations, and inflationary pressures, along with decreases in consumer confidence, the city is proposing more of a conservative revenue numbers for the upcoming fiscal year. Additionally, other revenues primarily relates to city participation in the California Department of Health Care Services Public Provider Ground Emergency Medical Transport Program, which we joined in June 2023. This program is a supplemental reimbursement program to public providers who transport medical patients. Revenues from this program are coming in higher than expected, and with the new rate increases anticipated for the new year, it is expected to continue to increase. Under inter-fund revenues, this relates to allocations of administrative overhead charges to funds outside the general fund, and operating transfers ties to one-time transfers from ARPA monies reallocated last year that is not being repeated. So this slide here demonstrates the same information, just in a chart format, so you can visually see the changes year over year related to the different revenue sources. Now moving on to the city's general fund proposed expenditures, which is currently at $116 million. When compared to last year's budget, it is approximately up by 4%. I do want to note again that the general fund does not include Measure S and Measure D. Previously, Measure S was included as a measure under the general fund, but it's now listed under special revenue funds. Measure S, which is now under Fund 17, and Measure D, which is now under Fund 12, have their own reporting that is done annually, that is audited by an outside auditor, and presented to the Citizens Oversight Committee and to the overall City Council at the end of the year. This slide demonstrates the department's proposed budget and their associating percentages of the budget when it relates to the general fund. Please note that the current public safety percentage is 58% to the general fund, but when adding in Measure S, that is currently sitting at 64%, which is right in line with the recommended percentage for bond rating agencies, which states that the recommended percentage is between 60 and 66% of the budget. I additionally want to note that this percentage accounts for the city's dedication to public safety and to the City Council's commitment to have public safety as its top priority. You also see one of the line items, just for clarification, non-departmental funds. This relates to items such as pension obligation, some employee benefits, and transfers out to other funds. Lastly, I do want to note that the Space Center is listed under Fund 24, so it's outside of the general fund, and the Downey Theater is listed under Fund 39, also not listed in the general fund. As part of the budget, the proposed budget includes 3 full-time positions, which is now pushing the budget to 470 positions that are now captured, full-time positions under the budget. So these three new positions are the 2 parking enforcement officers and 1 regional fire communications operator. These positions are funded by Measure D. Also, as part of this budget, there are 7 reclassifications to be more reflected of the scope of their duties and responsibilities. I also want to note that as part of last year's budget, the city implemented ClearGov. Through ClearGov, the city has developed a user-friendly online budget book that is accessible to the public. We encourage members of the public to view the city's budget book at downeyca.org/budgets, where you can review the budget along with prior year budgets as well. Last item to discuss is AB 2561, which modified the Myers-Millis-Brown Act. AB 2561 now requires public agencies to annually address the status of their job vacancies by bargaining unit. As part of this requirement, if a city has a greater than 20% vacancy in any particular bargaining unit, there's an additional steps that the city must comply with. We are happy to report that we don't have any vacancies over that 20% threshold, so we don't have to do those additional steps at this time. But we do have the bargaining units here listed on the chart that you see on the screen, which breaks down the vacancy rate by each unit of the 7 bargaining units here in the city. We also have 1 category on there listed for unrepresented positions, which includes the city executive middle management, unrepresented positions, and also full-time temporary positions of the ambulance operators. In this chart, we want to highlight some of the areas that have higher vacancy rates. This includes both the Public Safety Auxiliary Association and the Police Officers Association. With the passage of Measure D, an additional 17 positions were added to the budget during the fiscal year, which increased the number of vacancies temporarily while we recruit for these positions. Also, another area that has a higher rate is our Maintenance Association. This was largely due to some of the vacancies within the water utility and due to the high competitive nature of some of the positions within the water industry. Since this data was pulled originally in March as part of the budgetary process, the city continues to make strides to fill vacancies since that time period. More specifically, the city has processed an additional 19 full-time employees, which are working to drive down some of these numbers. Additionally, HR continues to work with departments to come up with creative ways to fill these positions. As part of some of these efforts, in December of the fiscal year, the city implemented a new model of the city's applicant tracking system. This is the NeoGov Attract model, and it's basically a relationship management system which allows the city to reach out to applicant pools of up to over 2.7 million public sector job seekers. And we can then market directly to passive candidates that may be qualified for specific positions. We've been using this module very heavily to drive additional applicants to our positions. HR has also implemented other initiatives by doing more job postings on various career fields, and also working with our police officers, working with them to increase frequencies of testing due to high competitive nature of the public safety recruitments. So at this time, they're trying to increase those so we can quickly try to hire individuals as soon as possible and fill vacancies, so shortening the testing timeframes. That concludes the summary of the budget, proposed budget for fiscal year 25-26, and staff's available to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Assistant City Manager Steve Rojas. We have looked at the budget, I remember in Budget Subcommittee, Mayor Sosa and I and others. It's a lot of detail, it's a lot of work. Public can see the detail that it takes to run a city. We appreciate all the work that's been put in. We also here on council collectively have had time to review it and discuss it prior. But I will ask now if any members of the council have any questions or comments.
Just a brief comment, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. Vania, thank you for this presentation once again. Having been part of the Budget Subcommittee for several years past, it really is a testament to good stewardship for this city, that this is the 13th balanced budget that we pass. And considering everything going on around us in the uncertainty of the financial times, that this city continues to be a good steward of the people's money. So I thank you for presenting this. And thank you, colleagues, for the decisions. We would like to help everybody and everything, but we can't. We have to stay on budget.
Correct.
So thank you.
Correct. Any other comments?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor Pro Tem. I want to speak up and advocate on behalf of the Downey Historic Center and Museum. I mentioned to our city manager that I had an opportunity to visit, and I don't know if the community knows, we have a historic museum at Apollo Park. Highly encourage you to take the family. It's free. They are lacking in space. They have a container that's taking up space that really should be used for the kids at Apollo. So I was hoping that, and I don't know, Roger, how we should do this, but perhaps from the reserves, here's what I'm asking for at this point to see if the council would consider this. They submitted a list of things that they would like. If perhaps we could allocate maybe $5,000, Roger, to a study. I'm not sure if I'm using the correct terminology, to go out there and look at the space that they have and see if what type of expansion we might do for us to consider at a later time, because that will be costly. At this point, colleagues, I'm just asking for consideration of some allocation so we can see what we can do for the Historic Society. We made no commitments. They know money's tight, but that's my request.
I think the conversation we had was circled around, can we set aside some funding to study what an expansion would look like if it costed out, figure out what it would take resource-wise to do that. I think as a starter, $5,000 would be probably appropriate to get things kicked off if that's what the council would like us to do. We might need more than that, but that would be a good place to start.
I think this is something that we have discussed in previous years, and this is something that we've advocated, as a matter of fact, in prior years. I don't know if the Historical Society has applied to the annual grant funding we have available. I don't know if that has occurred in the past.
They did submit funding requests, and they were allocated $9,000 regarding archiving, I believe.
Regarding archiving,
Yes.
but now with a lack of space, I definitely, this is something that I know in previous years we have discussed, and I'm definitely supportive. This is about preserving the history of our city.
And expanding onto the footprint where they are now, like a building, or,
Yes,
I mean, is there
think,
room?
I think one of the legacy projects, and that is not on the agenda, but one of the legacy projects would be that Vaulty building. That's the big dream. That's a cost of $25 million to bring back to life and have an area for the Downey Historical Society. That's my dream. But I definitely support this to study what it would take for an expansion for the Downey Historical Society.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
So as I understand it, the inclusion would be $5,000 to begin a study to look at options for expanding the Historic Society building to make it larger.
Yes, and then you would bring back the recommendations to the council, and we would see if we can do anything.
Okay.
Okay with
So we have a motion and we have a second?
Yes.
Okay.
That would include that with the final motion of the adoption of the budget.
And I know it's not much, but that's it's a
Do we need a
start.
vote on this?
And thank you to the society for doing all the work of preserving our amazing history. You know that I am very proud of the fact that I believe it's that history that you're preserving that distinguishes us. So thank you. I know it's a lot of volunteer hours, and thank you for being here and submitting this.
And I say I've been there many times as well, and it's very challenging to walk through the hallways, to go into the back, and there's just so much memorabilia and memories that we need to save and preserve. So we appreciate the museum for doing all of
Hopefully
that.
someday the Vaulty building will come to life.
Well, my colleague and I have already,
That's a
said
huge
that.
dream
right there for all.
So,
It's a good tour.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Thank you, Vanya.
we should move on to then public comment of item number 1. I will now open this item for public comment. This is on agenda item 1 only. City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written correspondence to be incorporated in the record?
We did not, Mayor Pro Tem.
Members of the audience wishing to address the City Council regarding the public hearing item may come up when your number is called. I will be calling yellow number cards for this item. I remind speakers that you have 3 minutes to address the council, and your comments must be regarding this public hearing item only. There will be another open time for discussion. The City Clerk Downey, how many speakers have taken a number?
We have 2, Mayor Pro Tem.
2. Speaker number 1, please come forward. Thank you.
Lee Squire, retired BREA Financial Services Manager for Accounting and Auditing. Mayor Pro Tem and City Council. First question is does the city still have what's known as a successor agency, a separate legal entity to monitor the pay down of your enforceable obligations? I don't see that here as to being an adopted budget. Number 2, your housing authority is a separate legal entity. However, you have it listed on your statement of sources and requirement, making it look like it's a city fund, which it is not. It also is noted as housing. It should be noted as housing authority. Also on your statement of sources and basically sources and requirements, I'd like to note how this is even possible. Your storm drain fund, you have a projected ending fund balance of a negative $18.5 million. I don't see, how can you even legally adopt that? Number 2, your water utility fund has a estimated deficit ending fund balance of $8.7 million. How is that even legal to do that? I'm not aware that you can adopt deficit fund balances. Also, if the housing authority is a separate legal entity, I realize you've only have budgeted of expenditures of basically $5,000, but on another item later on, you have close to a $2 million transfer. I'd like to know why there was no reference into here. And again, that housing authority is a separate legal entity, and I believe it should have its own resolution to adopt its own budget. And again, I'm asking about your successor agency, and where's that adopted budget? Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker number 1. Can I ask for Speaker number 2, please?
Well, here we are again. I only noticed 2 negative points in the budget that were there any reductions, and that was charges for services and operational transfers. Clearly, watching the debate last meeting over the budget, it was clearly obvious that we're going to have a shortfalls coming up. And it was interesting that District 5 wants to dip and look into the reserves to get some of the monies from the reserves, and yet is still proposing wasteful spending tonight even. This budget does not represent the cuts that are necessary. If you're claiming that our economic situation is dire or insufficient, you should be tightening your belts just like everybody else has to. When there's no money at home, you have to do without some things. And the only thing I see you doing here is expanding government for all the paid positions and adding more staff, and then even trying to gaslight us with Measure S and Measure D. And what we were promised was more police officers, boots on the ground, and we still have 224 officers. We haven't had any expansion for public safety in this area. Now, I'll stand corrected if that's not correct, but we were promised certain things by all the elites and all the gurus that if we pass these sales tax initiatives that we were going to get these things, and we're not getting them. Crime is rampant out there. Still rampant. Our streets are not getting paved. We had a little surge here recently, but they were not getting paved. That's your job. Not dog parks, not historical outfits. They can fundraise on their own. They can pay for themselves, price of admission. There's nothing wrong with that. This is a problem. You're spending money and wanting to spend money on nonsensical things, and it needs to stop. You don't get to claim that you're good stewards of our money when you're not actually good stewards of our money. All you're doing is expanding government, expanding staff. You're giving raises to the department heads. That's what Measure D and Measure S were for, not for what we were promised. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Crow. I will now entertain a motion and second to close public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
So ordered by the Mayor Pro Tem. Unless there are any comments from the council, I will entertain a motion and second to adopt the resolution.
I move to adopt.
Second.
Just to
Thank you.
clarify that the resolution would include the $5,000 for the
That's correct.
Historical Society.
Yes.
Thank you,
Move to adopt with
City Manager.
adding that.
Okay,
Second.
please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you. So we move on to number 2 on our public hearing. It's the adoption of resolution adjusting the citywide user fees for fiscal year 2025-26. That the City Council conduct a public hearing and adopt resolution number 25-8303, adjusting the city's uniform schedule of fees. The hour having arrived, the public hearing is now open, 7:21. City Clerk Duarte, do you have proof of publication?
I do, Mayor Pro Tem.
Just to confirm,
Oops.
you'd like to call written?
Can I have a motion and a second to receive and file the publication?
So moved.
Second.
Please vote.
I'm coming.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you. City Manager Bradley, is there a staff report?
Management Analyst Duran will provide the report.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and members of the City Council. Before you tonight are the proposed adjustments to the citywide user fees for fiscal year 2025-2026. As you are aware, local government agencies are responsible for providing a variety of services to citizens. These services range from public safety to building and planning. The methods for funding local government services are also varied, and most services are funded by tax revenues and user fee charges. Services that support the community and public safety are typically tax supported, while services that provide for specific individual beneficiaries are generally supported by user fee charges. User fee charges in California are required to comply with the statutory requirements of the California Constitution and the California Code of Regulations, specifically Proposition 26, which was approved by voters in 2010. Requires that user fees for activities that benefit specific user groups be set to no more than the actual cost to provide the services. In February 2022, the city retained Revenue and Cost Services, herein referenced as RCS, to perform a citywide cost allocation and cost of services study to ensure that the city's fees and rates reflect the true and reasonable cost of delivering services. In October of 2023, RCS completed its study and provided the city with the study findings. RCS also provided, as a part of the study, a recommended range of cost recovery targets that are specific to the industry, end user group, and public purpose for which the activity is occurring. Based on the findings from the 2023 cost allocation and user fee study, the City Council adopted resolution number 248246, which was adopting the fiscal year 2024-2025 user fees on June 25th, 2024. As part of the 2019-2020 budget process, City Council approved on June 25th, 2019, the automatic annual adjustment of city user fees based on the Consumer Price Index for Los Angeles, Orange, and Riverside Metropolitan Statistical Area. An exception to the annual adjustment are those fees set by state statutes or fees that were recently adopted and are already at full cost recovery. The proposed fiscal year 25-26 user fee schedule is attached as Exhibit A to Resolution 25-8303, included as Attachment A in your agenda packets. City staff is proposing a total of 897 user fee adjustments for fiscal year 25-26. Out of this total, the following actions are recommended. 550 of the fees are being proposed to be increased by CPI of 3%. 110 fees are being proposed to increase to reflect market rates. 18 are new proposed fees. 215 fees have no increase or decrease due to either fee rounding or the fee being set to current market rates or being governed by state regulations. And then we are proposing to remove 4 fees from the schedule. Fees not set by state regulation are proposed to increase by 3%, based on the March 2025 CPI for the Los Angeles, Long Beach, Anaheim area, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics. And these are highlighted in orange on the attachment to Exhibit A. These fee changes account for the majority of the changes to your fee schedule. The proposed increases and decreases were rounded up or down to the nearest dollar, greater or lesser than 50 cents. This is done to make the payment process simpler for patrons when they're providing payments for services. However, there is an exception for the community development, building and safety section, where fees are adjusted to the actual dollar amount to the cent without any rounding. This is because fees are based on project valuation. By applying a gradual increase to fees, it ensures that the general fund revenues are not used to subsidize specialized services received by businesses and developers, among others. It also prevents the need to enact large increases as a result of catching up with the fees, which can be as a result of skipping annual fee analyses for a few years. I would like to note that, as done in previous years, there have been some fees amended to reflect market rates for facility rentals and admissions, as well as the theater rental staffing expenses. Those fees are highlighted in purple in Exhibit A. Additionally, highlighted in yellow are a nominal amount of new fees that are being proposed to recover the cost for staff time spent on various services that were not previously captured in the schedule. And lastly, staff is proposing the removal of fees that are no longer applicable, and these fees are highlighted in red. This concludes staff report, and now staff is available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for the report. Do any members of the council have any questions or comments on this?
No additional questions. Given this is something we had studied before, there's no additional questions from my end. Thank you.
Correct. A lot of this we brought forth before prior meetings, so we understand the detail. I see you looking as well, correct? If there are no more further comments, I will then now open this item up for public comment. City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written correspondence to be incorporated into the record?
We did not, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay. So members of the audience wishing to address the City Council regarding the public hearing item, this item number 2, may come up when your number is called, and I will be calling purple cards for this item. I remind speakers that you have 3 minutes to address the council, and your comments must be regarding the public hearing item only. City Clerk Duarte, how many speakers have taken a number?
We have 1 speaker for this item.
And I see Mr. Crow in the back. Speaker number 1, please come forward. I know you're getting your exercise today.
It's the rehab part of it. It's a lot of fun. Get a knee replacement, that's what they give you, you know.
Bionic.
It's tough, knees are tough.
They sure are.
Bionic Crow.
User fees, I think they're too high. I think we haven't had any reduction in user fees. When's the last time we had any reduction in user fees in the city of Downey? Does anybody know? I don't know. I don't recall any. Of course, that would be like asking us to reduce taxation or taxation liability. Again, Measure S, Measure D, would it go up 0.5, then 0.25? All expansions, always going up, never giving the residents a break. We need a break. You need to bite the bullet like the rest of us do. You need to cut back. We need a break. You need to cut back. You need a break. But you don't see it quite that way, do you? Because you are big government, tax and spend liberal Democrats. And you need to stop doing it. Your policies are failing everywhere. So give us more of our money. We want more of our money, and we'll spend it the way we know how the best. And reduce these user fees. Reduce them. Have some backbone. It's not about you getting money from us any way you can. We don't trust you with our money. Nobody does. You're not trustworthy. You've done a lousy job, and we know it. So we want more of our money back in the form of user fees. Reduce the user fees. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Curl. I will entertain a motion and a second to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Time is 7:30. So ordered by the Mayor Pro Tem. Unless there are any comments from the council, I will entertain a motion and a second to adopt the resolution.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Moved and second, please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you, City Clerk. So now we move on to item number 3, and this is adoption of a resolution for the placement of delinquent solid waste charges on the Los Angeles County property tax roll. And then that the city, number 1, conduct a public hearing confirming and adopting the annual report for the placement of delinquent solid waste charges on the Los Angeles County tax roll. And number 2, adopt a resolution number 258304, which directs the city clerk to file the annual report prior to August 10, 2025 with the Los Angeles County Registrar Recorder, and request that the Los Angeles County Tax Collector record a lien against the parcels as a special assessment on the property tax bills. The hour having arrived, the public hearing is now open, 7:31. City Clerk Duarte, do you have proof of publication?
I do, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to second and receive the filing of the publication?
So moved.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
City Manager Bradley, is there a staff report?
Public Works Director Baumgartner will provide the presentation.
Hi there.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Pemberton and Council. The item before you tonight is to consider adopting a resolution to add delinquent solid waste charges to the LA County property tax roll. At its May 13th meeting, City Council adopted an ordinance that outlines the process for adding delinquent charges that are more than 90 days past due to the tax roll. These include Athens, the city's solid waste hauler, notifying the affected property owners of the public hearing to take place to consider adding delinquent items to the tax roll. Athens has also provided the city a list of all counts that are still more than 90 days past due. Following that, staff reviewed the report and has prepared this report to bring to council tonight for consideration during this public hearing. Staff also noticed the public hearing leading up to this meeting in the Downey Patriot. At the time of Athens notifying the property owners of the delinquency, there were 380 counts 90 plus days past due, totaling 191,000. In the past three weeks since doing that notification, the number of counts have been reduced from 380 down to 245, with a total amount owed now down to 121,000, sorry. Property owners can continue to settle these past due amounts with Athens until approximately August 8th, when a final list of accounts will be uploaded with the LA County Tax Collector. So any counts that are settled will not be added to the tax rolls. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions. And here tonight, I also have Randon Lane, our vice president, the vice president with Athens, and he also has 2 members of Athens staff that can also receive any payment, including tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baumgartner. And as we said, they will be in the back. If there is anybody here that has any delinquency that's 90 days or over, to avoid the tax roll assessment, that would be the time to do that now or come to City Hall, correct? There is a sheet that we have on the 3rd floor, I believe. Correct. And I also want to say that owners had contacted me to say sometimes the tenant puts the bill in their name, and so the owners don't know it goes delinquent. And so we are now contacting the owners as well, so that they do know and they are aware, so that they can make restitution or take from a security deposit, that type of a thing. So let the owners, I want to let the owners know that there's a channel for them as well. Do any members of the council have any questions or comments?
I just have one question. How are they getting notified for these delinquents? Are they getting calls or are they getting?
Well, they had been getting multiple collection notices over the last year, but after that, they were sent out a notice one more time to notifying them of the public hearing tonight. Okay. And that's what resulted in the decrease in the number of accounts as well as the total amount owed.
Thank you.
Any other comments, or Mayor, City Manager Bradley, any that they want to ask or not?
No, I was just going to say, Representative from Athens is here. If you have any questions from them, they can give you specifics. But if there's none, then we're good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I will now open up this item for public comment. City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written correspondence to be incorporated in the record?
We did not, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay. Members of the audience wishing to address the City Council regarding the public hearing item number 3 may come up when your number is called. I will be calling pink number cards for this item. And I remind speakers that you have 3 minutes to address the council, and your comments must be regarding this public hearing item. Oh, we have none?
We have one.
One. Oh, I knew we had one. City Clerk Duarte, how many speakers have taken a number?
One.
Let me guess. Mr. Crow, number 1. See, you're moving faster. The first time I was a little bit slower.
You've got a fan club.
All right.
It's a tough crowd. Well, here we are, more taxes. Those show up pretty quickly as well. Let's see, we have user fees tonight. They're not being reduced. Sales tax isn't being reduced. Twice sales tax isn't being reduced. No police officers. And now if you don't pay your bill, which went up $10 to Athens to take care of that trash they have to haul out to Victorville for the methane problem and the phony climate change issue, we can go ahead and we can just let Janice Hahn put it on the LA County tax roll, and she can get the money that way, because those 5 supervisors are doing just a phenomenal job with LA County over there. They're doing so phenomenally well that they passed a measure that they're going to have 9 of them now. 9 county supervisors. Can you believe that? And more staff from LA County. Man, is that what we need? Well, you know, we also get water surcharges. I know there's one, I didn't check it on my property tax bill, but that came out in LA County as well. And it's a $10 charge. And nobody knew what it was for except to launder money for the politicians through the Central Basin Water District. You know, it's just amazing. But everybody says, well, it's only $10. What are you complaining about? Well, if we do it through 24 cities, that adds up quite a bit of money. And nobody pays attention to it. But it's on your bill. And if you can't pay your taxes on your to Athens, they'll just throw it on the county tax roll and they'll get it that way. So we're getting taxed at every turn, and I still don't hear any relief coming from our council people at all. No relief from the taxes that we have to pay. But we can put it on your tax bill and help you resolve the issue to help you pay for it easier. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Crow. I will entertain a motion and second to close the public hearing. The time is 7:38.
Second.
Second, thank you. So ordered by the Mayor Pro Tem. Unless there are any comments from the council, I will entertain a motion and a second to adopt the resolution.
I move to approve and adopt the resolution.
Second.
Second, thank you. Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
Thank you, City Clerk Duarte. Now is the time for public comment regarding agenda, consent calendar, and items not listed on the agenda that are within the City Council's subject matter jurisdiction. Now would be the time for public comment, and we will be playing a recording about the rules of the public comment, the rules of decorum in the room.
Take public comment on agenda, consent calendar, and non-agenda items. If you did not receive a number card and wish to speak, please proceed to the back of the room to be issued a number card by city staff. We will be calling blue number cards for the public comment period. Before we begin the public comment period, we would like to remind members of the audience that the city's meeting rules contained in the Downey Municipal Code prohibit any conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. Copies of the meeting rules are located in the back of the chambers. Members of the audience and speakers who violate these rules and cause a disruption will receive one warning and then may be removed from the meeting. Violations of the rules of decorum for council meetings may also result in an administrative fine under the Municipal Code or citation for a misdemeanor under Penal Code Section 403. The City Council acknowledges the right of the public to address issues that are within the city's jurisdiction and invites the public to do so during the City Council meeting. However, this right must be balanced with the need of the City Council to conduct the public business in a fair and efficient manner, free from disruption or disturbance. We expect that everyone who participates in today's meeting, from the members of the council here on the dais, to staff, to the members of the public in attendance, do so with respect and dignity. Please refrain from using profanity, name-calling, or behaving in a way that disrupts this meeting. This includes yelling, whistling, booing, screaming, and any other outburst that disrupts or disturbs the meeting. Any conduct that interferes with or disrupts persons who are addressing the City Council. Any conduct that interferes with or disrupts council members while they are speaking. Any other conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. And attacks of a personal nature on city staff or city council members that have no connection to agenda items or non-agenda items. We remind speakers that your comments must be addressed to the mayor and not to any other council member, city staff, or the audience.
City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written public comment to be incorporated into the record?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, we did.
Is there a I'm sorry.
We have a written public comment from Melanie Gutierrez, who commented regarding removal of the pride flag and the ICE activities in the city. Resident Henry Ceja, who commented regarding ICE activities in the city. And Marcy Martinez, who also commented regarding ICE activities in the city. That is all.
Thank you. Is there a motion and a second to receive and file written public comment?
So moved.
Second. Thank you. Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
City Clerk Duarte, how many speakers have taken a number?
23 speakers, with speaker number 20 who has left the meeting.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so based on the number of speakers, each speaker will have 2 minutes to address the City Council. And I remind all speakers that you must remain seated until your number is called. And we also cannot comment during public comment. We that currently sitting here do not comment. We're here to receive your comment. So if we sit here, we are listening, we will make a note. And please be respectful of everybody who is speaking at the podium. Is there a motion? Speaker number one. Sorry. Speaker number one, please come forward. Hello.
Hello. Good morning, Mayor, City Council, and my community at large. My name is Brianna Vias, and I am deeply grateful to be able to speak to you all today. I stand before you with utmost love as I speak today from my home. As I look at you all, I see my skin color, my culture, and my people, but I also see a distinct difference between you and I. I have chosen to never forget where I come from or my community. So allow me to remind you of your history. Like you, Hector and Claudia, my family immigrated to LA from Mexico. in pursuit of the American dream. To my knowledge, Dorothy, your parents fled fascist German occupation and came to America. You are all the children of immigrants. Claudia, in your statement addressing the viral video of your Trump election party, you said, "I believe immigrants are a blessing, but we must follow the laws of legal immigration." Trump has not followed the laws 34 times, as he is a convicted felon.
Please,
We
no
must
clapping
not-
in the audience, please.
Thank
Thank you. Let the speaker speak.
We must not pick and choose which laws we abide by. We must not pick and choose which laws we abide by, and we must not pick and choose which immigrants are a blessing. As the city of Glendale ends its ties with ICE and Homeland Security, how will you protect the people of Downey? How will the city council explain to a little girl who watched in horror as her grandfather was detained at OPH that the only crime her grandfather committed was being Latino in America? ICE has no place in Downey, and hate has no place in my home. ICE and its supporters steal from the warmth of immigrants in order to meet quotas. As a city, we must honor and respect all persons' pursuits of a better life and the American dream. We must honor all families' rights to stay together, and my heart is with all those families who have lost members during these raids. As we are all children of immigrants, please choose love and empathy for families instead of their forceful kidnappings and separation. Protect our immigrants and remember your history. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Brianna. Speaker number 2, please come up. Speaker number 2. And if your number is close to the speaker that's there, you know, if you want to come forward and get ready, that will be fine.
Hello, Madam Mayor Pro Tem and City Council. It is with deep disappointment that I stand here today, not just as a community member, but as someone who believes that elected leaders should defend the people they represent, regardless of political affiliation. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, conservative or liberal, voted for Trump or Harris, there's only one word to describe the ICE raids that are tearing through our communities, and that word is unconstitutional. When ICE raids shook our neighborhoods as families hid in fear and children cried themselves to sleep, my council member was silent. And worse than silence, she implied that undocumented immigrants and the people protesting were domestic enemies on her Facebook post. Let me remind you that you're from Juarez. You came to this country, you built a life here just like many of the people who are hiding in their homes as we speak. They don't have a life in their birth countries, just as you do not have a life in your birth country. Their home is here. And they should, at the very least, be given due process. And that is a right that they are currently being denied by the man whose banner you waved around and danced with on election night. And now you're upset and threatening lawsuits because people are holding you accountable for the things that you posted on social media on election night. Let me clarify that that is not what a good and respectable leader does. Nobody is asking for special treatment. The people are demanding one basic thing, and that's human rights. ICE raids time and time again have been filled with illegal actions, no warrants, profiling, families being torn apart without due process. And if our council won't stand up and call that injustice, then we will. It is not unpatriotic to criticize the government. It is our duty when that government fails its people. Protest is not a crime, it's a cornerstone of democracy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tovar. Speaker number 3. Hello.
Good evening. And pardon the fast pace tonight, so we'll get going. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council. As you know, this city is the city that touched the world with the moonshot and the Carpenters. There was a time when Chesterfield cigarettes were the official cigarettes of United Airlines, and Downeyites on their 10-hour flight to Hawaii puffed away at 20,000 feet. Downeyites rejoiced when Biff Insecticide boasted that they now had more DDT than ever before. Downeyites, well, I'll get back. Being able to show artifacts like these can help Downey's unique history be marketed and thus bring money to the city. And who wouldn't want that? Alas, marketing our unique history is a discussion for another night. For tonight, I am Roger Miller from the Downey Historical Society, and I'd like to plant a seed on behalf of the Downey Historical Society and the Downey Conservancy. I'd like to request a meeting with city decision makers. We have our 70th anniversary of being an incorporated city coming up, and time is running out. We have ideas on how we can enhance the celebration, and hope you can go along with this. Our ideas are zero cost to the city. So as we're running low on time, I guess I'll bottom line it with a request to get a commitment from city decision makers to meet with us so we can hit the bricks running. Thank you.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem, we'll follow up and talk to them. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. Speaker number 4, please come up.
Hi, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members in the city of Downey. I'm Kanita Wilkes. I'm the CEO of Rancho Los Amigos National Rehabilitation Center, and I'm really excited to share some good news this evening. It has been a 7-year journey for us, but we are finally at the point when we are going to have a site visit by some Magnet site visitors. Magnet recognition is really an amazing testament to the patient care that we deliver at Rancho and to the excellence of both of our nursing staff as well as our doctors and all of our employees at Rancho. So it's been a 7-year journey, but we're finally here, and I want to introduce to you Dr. Michelle Sterling, our Chief Nursing Officer.
Good evening. Thank you for your time this evening. Part of the Magnet journey we've been on for 7 years at Rancho is, again, letting our community know that we're expecting the visit. So we'll be expecting them to visit us July 23rd through July 27th. There'll be 3 appraisers who will come through our site at Rancho Los Amigos in the city of Downey and, just validate and look at our 2,200-page document and just, again, talk to our patients. They'll talk to the community members. We have a session we'll be inviting community members to as well. So we just want to come here and share that with you all to let you know what we're doing here in our community of Downey as well. So we're very proud. It's been a lot of work, and it speaks to and attests to the patients that we care and deliver service to at Rancho Los Amigos. So again, thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for letting us know. Congratulations. Speaker number 5.
Good evening. Before I get started, I did want to make the request if it could be 3 minutes allocated by our bylaws and would like my time honored.
No, we have a certain schedule for all the people that we have to speak, and 2 minutes is usually the general amount of time.
Oh, in the bylaws it had said 3 minutes.
Pardon me?
Or we can change it.
Just for clarification, that timeline is subject to deviation by the presider of the meeting, and the city's practice has been on from time to time to deviate for the 3-minute requirement where there is a large number of speakers.
Oh, I came in with reading what was on the website and it had indicated 3 minutes, so that's why my speech is going to go slightly over 2 minutes, and I would love my time to be honored.
Okay, well, I'll honor for 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem.
The exception. We have, as I mentioned, we have 23 speakers, and we have the time allocation, and it would not be quite fair that we give one allocation versus to one person and not everyone. We are trying to keep with the schedule so everyone has an opportunity to talk. So I will keep it at 2 minutes, please.
All right. Good evening. My name is Fiorella del Carpio, and I'm a very proud resident of Downey for over 35 years. I attended Gallatin, Griffith, Warren, and I'm a parishioner of Old PH Church. My 3 children attend a Downey school. My family and friends live in every single one of your districts. I own property here, support local businesses, and deeply proud to call Downey my home. The pride I'm standing here today is not just because I love the city, but the heartbroken, furious, not just by ICE's presence in our community, but by your silence in the face of it all. I immigrated from Peru and I made roots here. And just like you, Councilmember from Meta, in your 2018 campaign, you said your life epitomizes the American dream. That, as an immigrant from Mexico, raised and educated in Downey, you committed yourself to this community, and so did I. So I ask, where is that same commitment now? Council members, you took an oath to support and defend the Constitution, not just against our enemies, foreign and domestic, but to faithfully discharge the duties upon which you are about to enter. That includes protecting the safety and the unity of this community, and you have failed us. Council member Fermenta, you speak about bullying and being harassed, but what about the children in our city who are afraid to go to schools because of their parents being detained? What about the families that attend Old PH My Church, or take their cars to the Galaxy Car Wash, or live in our neighborhoods who have been torn away? You say you love Downey, then where is that love? Mayor Pro Tem Pemberton, you danced to cumbia and salsa in our summer concerts last year. You celebrated with our families, but those families that are now hurting, your silence is resounding. Councilmember Sosa introduced a video after the damage was done. Leadership doesn't show up late, it shows up when it's hard. This isn't about being Republican or Democrat, it's about being a human. It's about leading with morals. Downey is a tight community, but some of you have treated us as political liabilities in this neighborhood. You get to sleep comfortably in your privilege while others sleep in fear. And the polls, the resources, the carefully crafted statements that you release after the fact.
Thank you, Speaker
Those
number
weren't
5.
acts, those weren't acts
Thank you.
of leadership.
Can I ask for Speaker number 6, please?
Step up because you carry yourself.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry. The time is off right now. Thank you. Hello, Mr. Squire.
Jim Squire, being a veteran, U.S. Army, Downey High School, class of 1967. First Amendment freedoms. Mayor Pro Tem and City Council. First of all, presentations, Juneteenth, that represented my black community. I didn't see it tonight. Also, rioting and burning and looting in LA is not peaceful assembly per the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. Also, burning an American flag in protest, my generation doesn't really appreciate that. We who served in the era of the Vietnam War, we fought the foreign enemy of communism and the domestic enemy of racism. We fought the Civil War 100 years later on behalf of the black community. I don't need lectures about racism for my generation. Governor Newsom, he has alleged that Trump illegally federalized the California Army National Guard into LA, which is false and gaslighting. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in favor of federalizing the California Army National Guard on behalf of President Trump. Also, as to racism, since October the 7th, the Jews have been subjected to anti-Semitism in this country. I'd like to know which one of you was the voice of the Jews in the city of Downey since October 7th of 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker number 6. May I have Speaker number 7, please? Mr. Crow.
Lucky 7. You'll have to forgive me a little bit. I'm a little nervous, shy, and timid. These situations are never pleasant. But I think some of the comments have been made are misguided at best. Some are total disinformation, especially from District 5. Which is nothing unusual. There's been a lot of gaslighting always from District 4, and in some cases, the mayor, who's not here tonight. However, this issue, maybe we do need to discuss this. Maybe we need to have public hearings about this. And we can lay it all on the table. And we can understand exactly what's going on, instead of just bashing Donald Trump. Of all things. Well, let's give him a little plug right now. He destroyed Iran's nuclear capability, most of it.
Excuse me, please. Let the speaker speak.
There's no quagmire of a war, and there's a path to peace. Now we'll move on from that, okay? District 4 claims that our immigration policies is broken. I unequivocally disagree with that. It is not broken. It's just not adhered to. And you on the council have declared Downey a sanctuary city for illegal aliens. The city manager declared it in his opening statement tonight. So what is the problem? What are you complaining about? You are a sanctuary city. You are in complete violation of Article 6 of the Constitution. Plain and clear. So before you start making any of these claims and statements, you ought to make sure you know what you're talking about. Thank you.
Thank you, speakers number 7. May I have speaker number 8, please?
I have 2 minutes, so I'm going to rush through it too.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. So good evening. My name is Jennifer Alvarez. For 25 years, I've dedicated my life to teaching, transforming the lives of over 1,000 students along the way. Tonight, I stand before you as their advocate in a time overshadowed by fear and division. This reality is deeply troubling, especially when City Council member Claudia Fermetta has sought to silence my voice simply because I dare to challenge the status quo and question how our community has been treated. As a fourth-generation Mexican-American with multiple educational degrees, I carry my heritage with pride. While my love for this country is unwavering, I refuse to forget the sacrifices made by our ancestors. In stark contrast, Mrs. Fermetta, who touts her status as the first immigrant to hold office in the city of Downey, has abandoned the very community she claims to represent. While I was under attack from Mrs. Fermetta and her numerous followers, I witnessed the deep-seated hate and animosity they hold toward our community. Some of the same individuals who stand by her offering their approval are the ones who proudly display a Confederate flag on social media, fully embracing its symbolism. I know what that flag represents, and I understand its significance to many minority groups, including African Americans. So please, Mrs. Fermetta, don't take pride in the accolades and approval you're receiving. Instead, consider the source and who is supporting you. As a teacher, I would put my life on the line for my students. I've been in lockdowns with my class, ready to protect them against whatever danger is or around campus. It's such a scary with a lockdown event when 25 little ones are staring to their teacher for protection. We learned that teachers are more than just, how did your supporters say, Councilwoman? Only in it for the pensions? Interesting enough, you agreed and liked her comment. When I spoke out, Congresswoman Fermetta immediately doxed me on her official Downey City Council page and revealed my profession and employer, knowing that she was inciting people to judge me, not as a rightfully unhappy constituent, but as a Downey teacher that should not speak out. She then stated, it's no wonder the education system is failing our children, which contradicts to her bio on Downey's website, where she writes she's raised 4 civic-minded children in the Downey Unified Schools.
Thank you, speaker number 8.
Me, but don't
Thank you.
pretend to be a supporter of our stellar
Thank you.
education system.
I need to have speaker number 9,
Madam
please.
Speaker, this is a warning for disruptive behavior. If you should you continue, you'll be subject to removal.
Speaker number 9, please come forward. Let's please let the speakers hear without any applause and any noise. Let them come forward so we can have our time.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Like other folks, I prepared 3 minutes, so I'm going to try my best to work through. Folks mentioned truth earlier, so I think it's important to be founded on truth as we move forward. Being undocumented in this country is a civil violation. That means that if you agree with what's happening, you also believe that people should be beaten and abducted by masked, unidentified men in unmarked cars for things like contract disputes, employment discrimination, housing discrimination, speeding, and fishing without a license. Undocumented immigrants contribute $8.5 billion in state and local taxes in 2022, and nationally undocumented immigrants contributed $96.7 billion while not benefiting from federal benefits as well. We also have heard that it is important to not share our political inclinations. However, those political inclinations give us as voters the ability to discern as to your inclinations as well and to make our own decisions. And finally, there's no law that prevents city officials from notifying local residents of federal activities. What is illegal, however, is to physically impede federal authorities from their activities. So I want to draw that distinction. Inaction is in fact complicity, as you have said earlier. There's been an incredible amount of inaction while there has been action throughout from residents themselves and other cities. The city of El Monte has created El Monte Cares to address food insecurity. The mayor of Bell Gardens joined residents in following and recording illegal immigration enforcement activity. In Huntington Park, the mayor has recognized enforcement activities as mass abductions. In the city of Boston has issued a Freedom of Information Act request to ICE-related activities. LAUSD has worked with their police in order to create a perimeter of safety around schools. None of that has happened here. But I share that with you as possibilities for action when I'm hearing that that action is just not possible, okay? The last thing that I'll say is that the inaction is unconscionable. I hear a lot of calls for decorum without decorum represented here. We hear about decorum and don't curse, don't say these things, but your actions demonstrate no decorum whatsoever. Trying to weaponize your immigrant status or your immigrant history is offensive and cheap. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker number 9. May I have Speaker number 10, please? Number 10.
I'll keep it sweet and simple. I don't like council people that want to get sound bites and just, this meeting tonight is just hilarious. I understand there's an immigration problem. I tread lightly how I speak because anything I say, being my skin color, I'm going to be called a racist, no matter what I say or do. Is there a problem? Absolutely. But we're talking about crossing the border illegally. You say that everybody's complacent with ICE doing what they're doing. Everybody was complacent the last 4 years when 10 million people came over the border. And I'm not just talking about Latinos. I'm talking about terrorists. There's over, 400 terrorists from Iran here somewhere that we don't know about. And with everything going on, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I've served in the military. I see how fast it can happen. But every time somebody wants to lose an argument, racism, that's the first card they throw. They throw the Hitler card. My mother grew up with Hitler. She knew Hitler. I hear the stories of all that nonsense. Her family was wiped out by the Gestapo because she wouldn't fight with the Germans. You want to talk about real stuff? Talk about real stuff. There's got to be a better way that we can help the migrants of this city. I totally understand that. But the city council can't do anything. It's federal. And you want to take our taxpayer dollars and sue the federal government just so the Supreme Court can throw it out. I mean, millions of dollars is being wasted on this issue. My idea was simple. Give the illegal migrant a ticket for 10 grand and say, pay this and this starts your migration or your immigration process. Simple. It's all about money all the time. There's such a simple fix. Give them a ticket and get them on the legal path. End of story. I mean, that's the best we can do because we're not going to fix it here. We're just going to complain and cry and moan. And to attack the city council members and all the stuff I've seen on Facebook, and I'm an old guy, I don't like Facebook, but damn, it's crazy out there.
Thank you, Speaker number 10. Can I please have Speaker 11? Good evening.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. That is the preamble to our Constitution. It is our right to defend the people that are being unjustly kidnapped by masked individuals who refuse to provide a badge number and refuse to provide any warrants whatsoever when questioned. It took this city council 5 days in order to say anything at all. I was out of town on a business trip, and I was watching everything happen while I was out of this city, and it was deplorable to see how you guys responded to this. You guys didn't give any resources out. The best that you could do was if someone gets read their Miranda rights. That's not going to do anything for people who aren't doing that, and they're just rounding people up wholesale. It's unfair to them. And of course, not everybody came out publicly against it. Councilmember Trujillo, I appreciate what you've done, as well as you, Councilmember Ortiz, but you, Frometa, you hypocrites. You absolute hypocrites.
We need to your comments here directly to us, not individually, right here to the city mayor.
In July of 2021, you called on the Biden administration to intervene in things that were happening in Cuba. You made this post publicly on your page, and yet—
Speaker 12, right here. Address it to me, please.
And yet, when it came to ICE coming in and invading our city, you guys were quiet. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker number 11. May I please have Speaker number 12.
How could you possibly cut me out and then show your approval to MAGA? Not only do you endorse a person with the staggering 34 felony counts against him, but you also seem to hold him in a high regard, almost as if you idolize him. It's shameful. Several years ago, you instigated a campaign that turned the city against me, all because of a mistake I made long ago. A mistake for which I have already paid my dues. Despite my efforts to move beyond my past, you randomly stomped on my reputation and crushed my family under the weight of your actions. My life became a battlefield, a struggle against the tide of your relentless disdain. But now the truth is surfacing, and your true nature is being revealed for all to see. You and your allies are nothing but low opportunists. The people who surround you, those warrants, are well known for the deceit. They represent the very words of the city social's favorite. And where's Mario Guerra, the puppet master pulling your strings? I can't see to find him anywhere. You who wear your roots are a badge of shame. Make me pity those who are truly struggling and stand here in proud Colombia married to a Mexican. A mother, my identity vibrant and apologetic. I embrace my truth as a proud gay individual. Let me remind you, while you might soar high like a palm tree, you will inevitably tumble down like a falling coconut. Be attentive to this warning. Do not take words at face value. Instead, pay close attention to your actions. Most of the council members present hold strong Trump's views, which can greatly influence their decisions and statements. This was the message to convey to everyone during my time as council member, but my voice was drawn out and ignored. Yet time ruthless and unyielding has illuminated the reality of who you are. My heart aches for the working families of this city, for the middle and lower classes who you fail to represent. Instead of offering protection, who call eyes to tear them apart? You are insignificant in the grand scheme of things, and truly pity
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker 12.
You are inhumane, all of you.
Speaker number 13. Excuse me.
Yeah, Speaker, this is a warning for disruptive behavior. If you do not cease your behavior, you'll be removed. Thank you.
Speaker number 13, please come forward. Just 1 second. Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead, City Attorney.
Members of the public, I think this is a good time just to offer a friendly reminder about public comment tonight. As was stated earlier in the city's rules or in the voiceover, public comment must relate to an agenda item or a matter within the city's subject matter jurisdictions. Oftentimes, attacks that are excessively personal don't do either. And so I would just like to offer that as a courtesy reminder to the public when delivering your public comments. Thank you.
1 second, we start the clock. Thank you. Speaker number 13, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Downey Council people and the City of Downey. First of all, I had emailed my question and I guess it didn't get there, so here I am, but now I forgot what my question was. First of all, I'd like to apologize for all the personal attacks that you guys are getting, and I know immigration is an issue. It is a federal law, and there's nothing the City of Downey can do about it. My question was, if we didn't have sanctuary city status, would we have been able to direct ICE to not have raids on Home Depot? That was my question that I asked. But to the other speaker that was here, I think it is a good opportunity for us to have a discussion out in the open so that there's no misinformation out there about what this is all about. This is about enforcing the rules of this land. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And you know, it's not a two-way conversation, so we will listen to all the speakers and we can't give direct answers. Thank you very much. Speaker number 15, please come up. 15? I'm sorry, 14. I already had an X in my box, excuse me.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members.
My name is Eliana. My husband and I are proud to call this beautiful city our home. Our son is lucky, too, to be a student in Downey Unified School District, and where he's supported by dedicated and compassionate educators like we have tonight. Like all of you, I'm also a public servant in local government. And I stand here before you as a proud daughter of Mexican immigrants. These past few weeks have been nothing short of devastating. Each day feels heavier than the last. I don't know how I managed to get out of bed. I don't know how I managed to go to work. I found myself crying in my car, unable to process that this is my reality. What's happening is not normal, and it should not be tolerated. That sorry excuse of a man in the White House has unleashed a cruel and targeted campaign against the most vulnerable in our communities. His actions are draining the spirit of this city, all to throw red meat to the base that thrives on hate and fear. Just weeks ago, a man was forcibly taken from the sidewalk in front of my church. His only crime was being brown in public. The goons who seized him wore no uniforms, gave no identification, and pointed a rifle at my pastor, who had the courage to put her body on the line to protect him, as our faith in our God compels us to do. I want to publicly thank Councilmember Trujillo for being, to my knowledge, the only one who has spoken out forcefully and proactively against these injustices. Tonight, I stand before you as a voter and a resident, as a mother and a neighbor. I respectfully urge this council to place a resolution on your next agenda that clearly and unequivocally rejects these atrocities. Let us stand together to support our neighbors, to defend our values, and to send a message that Downey does not bend to fear, intimidation, or hate. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker number 14. Now, Speaker 15. Thank you. Sorry, we don't have any signs in the audience. Please put that down. Thank you. Speaker number 15. And also let me make a note that when you start speaking, she will start the clock.
I figured. Thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem. I know that the rules are that we direct our remarks to you and you only. I want to first thank everyone involved in local government who sits through these things every 2 weeks. It is an impressive display of fortitude and something that we should all be grateful to all of you for. There is no Republican or Democrat way to clean the streets, and it is nice to come to Downey and see that you have clean streets. I'm actually here, my name is Roxanne Hogue, as a member of, actually the chairman of the Los Angeles County Republican Party, because I got word of one of my members who sits on your council who is being maligned and cast aspersions upon her for the simple fact that she voted for the President of the United States. I would say that, over 50% of the people did. That's how we get presidents. And every 4 years, everyone gets to choose. I, too, am an immigrant to this country. Legally, the country that my family fled, like so many of you, does not allow people to choose who they vote for, and encourages mob rule and the rising up of voices and the abuse of people who vote differently. And here in America, we're very grateful that all of us get to have and express opinions. And while I feel very much for the people whose voices break and whose hearts are breaking in the audience today, that doesn't give us permission to call people names or to claim things that are not true. The immigration enforcement is the purview of the federal government and the federal government only. I will address 2 comments to 2 speakers. Thank you to Speaker number 10 for their service. And in answer to the woman who asked about sanctuary status, the truth is that yes, the state of California and the city of Los Angeles and many others have made life more difficult for undocumented people by having sanctuary status for people who are convicted of crimes and in jail and should be turned over to ICE. They're the ones you should be blaming for any raids in public. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker number 15. Speaker 16, please come up. 16. Okay, I will call Speaker number 16 in the back. Yes, here she comes. Hi there.
Good evening, City Council members and city staff. I'm a Downey resident, and I'm here to let the City Council know that there is a large portion of Downey residents that support law and order, and that support legal immigration, and that support the United States Constitution. The Constitution is the law of the land. I just want to remind everyone here that the Constitution, the rights described in the Constitution are for American citizens, not for illegal immigrants. Again, the rights described in the Constitution are for American citizens and not for illegal immigrants. For instance, Amendment 14, where it grants citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States and ensures equal protection under the law. That's, again, for American citizens, not for illegal immigrants. We love all people, legal or illegal, but America is a country of law and order. By removing illegal immigrants, ICE is doing their job of enforcing the United States laws of law and order. We invite those who come into America illegally to come into this country legally. Again, ICE is doing their job as a federal government agency of law enforcement and working with border control. And what they're doing is removing illegal immigrants from our country. Our country is for American citizens, and we invite all illegal immigrants that came into our country, we invite them to come here legally, and I pray that Downey is a city that follows the U.S. Constitution and the law, and law and order as well. The Lord Jesus bless all of you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker 16. Now may I have number 17? There you are. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, council members. My name is Faraz Akil. I'm a resident of Downey, born and raised here all my life. I live in District 2, and I do wish my representative, Mayor Sosa, was here to listen to the people.
Could you speak a little closer in the microphone? Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Yes. Can I start my time again? Yes, is this better?
Yes, thank you.
Can I start my time again? Yeah. Good evening, City Council members. My name is Faraz Akil. I'm a resident of Downey, born and raised here all my life. I live in District 2. My representative, Mayor Sosa, who I wish was here to listen, because the city is here in pain, and not just for the neighboring cities that were raided by ICE, but especially after the June 11th Downey raid, where ICE agents went to different businesses throughout the city, including the Galaxy Car Wash and the Downey Church on Florence Avenue next to what used to be the Downey Bank, and racially profiled residents if they looked undocumented without a warrant. And it's not just because we lost our neighbors and hardworking Downey workers, but it's hurting our business community as well. And I've seen far fewer foot traffic in grocery stores and out in public in general. Even the crowded buses and trains have died down, unfortunately. And it's not just in Downey, but throughout LA County. I do fear if the rates do continue that Downey is going to lose a lot of sales tax, property tax, IRS tax filings, and businesses that may need to shut down, and especially, they're saying that the economic impact will be worse than COVID-19. So I'm just worried about the city budget for next year as well. And but regarding what options Downey has, other cities like LA has a legal defense fund for undocumented immigrants facing deportation that Downey can do. Even the Dodgers, I hear, are giving $1 million to support families negatively impacted by ICE raids. And even other cities are using social media to post ICE ratings or federal activities that are spotted in their cities. So to say that this is only a federal issue and the city can't do much. Well, it's just not true. And regardless if on the city council, if you voted for Trump, your #1 priority is to protect we the people of Downey, including those that are unable to vote, such as children and undocumented hard workers. We voted for you to protect those residents from our city from being kidnapped. And I think a lot of people in this room agrees that this city should do more and it can do more. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Speaker 17. May I please ask for Speaker 18? Speaker 18. Hello there.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Karina. I am a local Downey resident and citizen. These are my 2 children, Jesse and Joshua, who is a soon-to-be 8th grader, soon-to-be 5th grader. And what I have taught my children to do is to stand up for what they believe in, to take action. Jesse was here just last year to get a crosswalk for his school. He got it. Congratulations to him and to all of you who supported that. He was also here asking for compost bins 2 years ago, which nothing ever got done, but he was here advocating. So I'm here to advocate to you to give them a peace of mind, because my sons, when all of these raids started, were anxious. They were crying. They were afraid to go out. And this is unfortunate because they are children. They should be living their life to their fullest. They should be enjoying going out to their swimming sessions. They should be enjoying going out to their events. They should be enjoying going to Wednesday night Furman Park music at the park. And they're not able to do that. They have anxiety. And not just that, they also have friends who have anxiety, who are not able to feel like themselves right now during this difficult time. So I am here to ask you to think about our community, to think about our children, to think about what we can do to help them, to think about how we can help all of those who are not here to voice their concerns. I was at the vigil, I was at the protest, both protests, and that's how I'm voicing my concerns. That's how I'm showing my actions. That's how they are showing their actions. So please help us figure out what we can do to help our children, to help them feel better, to help them be able to sleep at night. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Speaker number 18. And Speaker number 19, can you please come up?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Joanna Fernandez.
Hello, Joanna.
My husband and I, as well as our kids, live here in Downey. We work here in Downey. My kids go to school in Downey, and all of you on council, including Mayor Hector Sosa, we have personal relationships and community relationships with all of you. I wasn't planning on speaking, but I just want to remind everybody that was born here, thank God you were born here. Thank God my mom and dad were born here, and thank God that my grandpa didn't leave when the Bracero program ended and he was supposed to go back to Mexico. Those were the privileges that we have of being born here. And I want to remind everybody that the US Constitution is for everybody. It is not just for citizens. It is not just for those that we've determined are legal. It is for everyone. That's why undocumented people can go to school, because it is a right. Downey is everyone. These are your constituents. These are your community. I try to be here in the middle, the voice of reason, to remind you all to come from a place of empathy, of reason, patience, humanity. This is past a political issue. This is a human issue. This is a legal issue. I'm also an attorney, and this is not legal. Let's pretend that I don't have opinions about what is going on specifically. The law is that it is illegal what is happening. And I would like to know if we want to pretend that this is just a federal issue, why are events being canceled? I don't agree with the looting in LA, but that didn't happen here in Downey. The cost of looting or rioting isn't acceptable, but the cost of freedom of speech is always acceptable. That is a cost that I want us to pay. What I want the council to do, or what I ask for, is who has been detained? How many people have been arrested? How many people have been detained and released? How many deported? How many businesses have been affected? We're walking around with that
Thank you,
similar
Joanna.
gut
Thank you.
feeling like we did during COVID.
We have, thank you. Thank you, number 19. Then I have speaker number 20. Speaker 20, that's your card, thank you. Hello.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you for your time. I want to remind everyone that we are a community. As a community, we should stand together. We ought to respect each other. We ought to be good neighbors. The community has to come together. We cannot be attacking each other just because one looks different than the other. And I would encourage City Council to find out, investigate how come those masked men, without being law enforcement, are kidnapping people in our community. That is not right. I came to this country 30 years ago, and I'm very proud of being an American. We do not have the same freedom in other countries. And many people who complain of the system right now, I invite you to go back to other countries and see how it's there, because it's not fun. I would suggest for everybody, if you're so concerned about all the people that were kidnapped and displaced, do a GoFundMe, talk to the presidents of the countries where they came from, offer your help, see what we can help to help those people that are being deported adjust to their living there. On my part, I'm unemployed, and guess what? I'm doing my best to get ahead. Now, 28 seconds to go. I need to request speed bumps in my street, Vista del Rosa. Juniors and people with muscle cars are really wreaking havoc in my community. I have sent emails 2 times, 3 times, and I haven't gotten any response. And we need more police officers. I have called the dispatch line, nobody picks up. That's not acceptable. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Speaker 20.
I would like to just ask our city manager to comment or address this issue that we keep hearing as council members regarding how many people have been detained, how many. This is a question that as council, we don't know. But city manager, can you please address that?
We do not have that information. It is not shared with us, so there's nothing that we can share on that topic, so, yeah.
Mr. City Manager, on that issue, Boston just issued FOIA's request. You have cities out there who are submitting freedom of information, so we don't have that information, but if we really wanted it, there's vehicles for us to ask for that. And we'll add that to the list of things we can do.
We'll discuss later. Yes, we can do that. Thank you. Speaker number 21, can you please come up? Hello there.
Yeah, good evening. First of all, I just want to start by saying that the Constitution is for everyone. You know, it's not just a select few, it's for everyone. And I really don't care who you voted for, but I care, and I'm very concerned about this passive attitude from some of you. My son is scared. You know, he goes to Griffith, and he's scared that his friends and people he knows will be deported or beat up by unmasked men. Quality of life. All of you ran on quality of life, right? This isn't quality of life. This is a nightmare. When does DPD start checking warrants? How much more do we need to increase our sales tax to ensure that DPD will defend us? We were easy to pass $500,000 sign over downtown Downey. Why wouldn't we invest the same to sue these bastards, right? Mario Guerra was very adamant about fighting back, about redistricting. Why do we not have that same passion to defend our city? My final thought is, are you with them or are you with us? If you are with them, forget about running and anyone that you plan to endorse in the future. I do want to give a shout out to my council lady, Dorothy. If you guys have any concerns, you guys should reach out to her. Call her, email her, because she will respond and share her thoughts. As much as I disagree with Mario, with the Olsen homes and everything, thank you for showing some balls. So thank you.
Thank you, Speaker 22. And let's go with the next person, 23, Speaker 23. Thank you. Hello. Oh, you have 22? Okay.
Muy buenas noches.
Very good evening.
Dorothy, me gusta tu puesto.
Dorothy, I like your position.
Sos perfecta.
You're perfect.
Lo mismo que la señora.
Same as the lady.
Prometa. Pagaron mucho dinero a terceras personas.
Pay a lot of money to third parties.
Hicieron money complaint
They've made many complaints.
para sacar a Caterina Álvarez de ese puesto en el que está sentado, Dorothy.
To remove Catherine
Da vergüenza.
from the place where where Dorothy is sitting. That's shameful.
Tanto Prometa como usted son personas que no deberían de estar sentadas ahí nunca.
You as well as
Les queda
Frometa,
grande.
you as well as Frometa are people who shouldn't be sitting there at that council. This is too big for you.
¿Saben qué hicieron? Porque Catherine les impedía robarse el dinero para hacer viajes y para hacer promesas que nunca han cumplido.
You know
con
what
el
you did?
pueblo.
You know what you did? Because Kathy will stop you from doing it. You took away money to promote trips and do things that are against the town.
Pero Dorothy, por terceras personas, mandó handicap a los edificios a pedir firmas para poderla sacar.
But Dorothy, through third parties, sent people to collect signatures to for the handicap to be removed.
Qué pena con Prometa, que lo hicieron juntas.
How shameful with Prometa, they did it together.
Da vergüenza, deberían de desocupar el puesto.
This is shameful. You should leave that post.
Ser honestas.
Be honest.
Todas tienen una carrera, pero esa carrera quedó chiquita para ustedes.
All of you have a career, but that career has shrunk for you.
Segundo,
Second,
¿qué han hecho ustedes por el pueblo cuando están manteniéndose del pueblo de Downey, de las personas de Downey?
Second, what have you done for the people in Downey when you are making a living thanks to the people in Downey?
Comen porque nosotros pagamos impuestos,
You eat because we
Pagamos
pay
renta.
taxes, we pay rent,
taxis.
taxes.
Tenemos que comer y vivir y ustedes viven de nosotros.
We have to make a living and eat, and you eat thanks to us.
¿Qué están haciendo en este momento por las gentes, por todos los que está llevándose inmigración? ¿Qué han hecho por ellos?
What are you doing for the people who have been taken by immigration? What have you done for them?
Los dejaron que se los lleven.
You allow them to be taken.
Miren a Pasadena,
Look at Pasadena.
todos se pararon para ayudarles.
They all got up to help them.
¿Saben qué hizo el gobernador?
You
Dar
know-
dinero para que los defiendan. ¿Y ustedes qué hacen por ellos?
What has the governor done? He has given money so that they can provide the resource to them.
gente está
What have you done
llorando.
for them? The people are crying.
Los niños están llorando.
The children are crying.
¿Con qué van a pagar renta?
How are they going to pay the rent?
La persona que se está quedando sin esposo o sin esposa y con los niños llorando. ¿Qué van a hacer ustedes por ellos?
The person who's losing a wife or a husband or a significant other and their children, what are you going to do for them?
A ver la comida, a ver la renta. ¿Las van a dar ustedes?
How to resolve
Pagan por ellos.
the issues dealing with food and the rent? Are you going to help them?
Tienen dinero del gobernador porque a todos les dio el gobernador dinero para que salven.
You
para
have
que
money.
salven la gente.
You have the money from the governor. The governor has given you money.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Your time has ended. Thank you.
No importa, no importa porque aquí no hay español.
It doesn't matter.
Aquí
Thank
la
you.
gente se para.
Can I have speaker number
People-
23?
Madam Speaker, your time at the podium is over. Please refrain from further comment. Thank you.
Can I have speaker
No,
23,
no,
please?
No hagan, no se sienten ahí.
Madam Speaker, this is a warning for disruptive behavior. Should you continue, you'll be asked to leave the meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
No, a mí no se me acabó el tiempo. Se les
I'm
acabó.
sorry. We're done. We have to follow. Everyone has had, you have 6 minutes. Thank you very much. Can I have speaker number 23, please? 23? Yes, thank you.
Tanta Dorothy, como probetas, unas
Okay.
desgraciadas.
We have speaker right behind you. Thank you.
No, a mí no me acabó el tiempo. El tiempo se les acabó a ustedes.
Madam Speaker, this is your final warning for disruptive behavior. Should you continue, you will be asked to leave the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, ma'am. Hi. Speaker 23? Yes, hello. Thank you.
Hello.
Please begin.
Good evening, Council. My name is Alexandra. This is my first time speaking at a City Council meeting. I'm a resident of Downey for 21 years and the product of Downey schools. I'm here today to express deep concern about recent ICE activity within our city. These operations, often conducted without notice or transparency, have created fear and instability within our immigrant communities. Families are afraid, children are scared to go to school, and local businesses suffer as community trust breaks down. This is not just a humanitarian issue, this is a public safety issue. Downey is a diverse city built by immigrants, rooted in family and community, and over 75% Hispanic and Latino. When ICE carries out enforcement actions that lack proper judicial warrants and that target residents indiscriminately, it undermines our city values and erodes our relationship with the very people we're supposed to protect. I urge the City Council to take the following actions. Formally investigate ICE operations that have taken place in Downey and determine whether constitutional rights have been violated. Explore legal action or join existing litigation to challenge ICE practices that harm our residents or violate local autonomy. I'm not asking the city to break federal law. We are asking the city to protect its residents, to stand up for due process, community safety, and our shared values. Other California cities have done this. Downey can and should too. I'm here as a Downey resident, as a constituent, as a voter, and this is just something I strongly believe in. I understand that the city has addressed that this is federal law, not something that they have much say in, but as constituents, as citizens, what can we do? That's why we come to our city council meetings. That's why we make our voices heard, because there's terrible, terrible things happening within the city, and we cannot be complicit, we cannot be silent. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alexandria. We have 2 more speakers, I understand, 24 and 25. 27. Speaker 24, please. Can you please come forward? Speaker 24? Okay. Let's have Speaker 25, please.
Hello, my name is Joaquin Beltran, a longtime resident of Downey, former candidate as well. Frankly, I'm not surprised that there's such a delay in even saying something by the council, because a lot of us, and you guys have probably seen the images online of the genocide happening in Palestine, where they are literally, Israel is shooting babies in the head, babies in the heart.
Mr. Beltran,
where they're bombing,
please direct it.
Where they're bombing tents. It's free speech. That's the point of this. They're bombing tents. They've killed thousands of journalists, thousands of healthcare workers, and this council has said nothing. So what does it say about a person's heart? About a person's heart who says nothing when
Excuse me, this way,
children
please, sir.
are assassinated, babies babies? What does it say about a person's heart? Where is your heart? And now, when we allow atrocities, tragedies like that to happen anywhere, it comes to our doorstep.
Mr. Beltran, please
And that is what is
myself.
happening. That
Please
is
direct your
why
comments
people are being
here.
kidnapped.
Thank
That
you.
is why you see across Southern California, police shooting our own community members with non-lethals that are nearly lethal. The FOIA request should have been done on day one. The people here are advocating more than people who actually have some power. Hold on to that. Keep doing that. What are you guys doing? That FOIA request should have been done a month ago. Why aren't you advocating to get all this information? Why aren't you making sure that our police are checking that these people that are hiding, that are not showing identification, have actual warrants, that they're not just racial profiling people off the street? Get balls. Thank you.
Speaker number 26, and then we have speaker 27. Good evening.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So normally I'm not one that comes out and speaks here. This is my first time here. I stand here as an immigrant that is no better than any other immigrant in this country simply because I was one of the lucky ones that came to the US documented. You heard me right. I'm lucky to have been given this opportunity to live in this country. I'm a teacher to first graders. A week before school ended, I'm gonna try to keep it together, one of my students and his mom were kidnapped and deported. Even though they were allowed to be here as refugees and had been following the process to become residents, my student and his mom went to an immigration appointment on a Thursday, and by Friday, I had an empty seat in my class. By Sunday, he and his mom were taken to Texas, and a few days later, they were in Guatemala, where his uncle was murdered a week before they got there. Lately, in spite of my lucky citizenship status, it has become unsettling for me to drive or walk around because of the color of my skin. I can't imagine what it's like for our undocumented, not illegal, Ms. Romita, undocumented residents in our workforce. You, the city leaders, need to stand up to the invasion of so-called agents in our city who are kidnapping human beings without giving them due process. Except for a couple of you, your lack of empathy and your silence speaks louder than words as to where you stand with our community. I invite you to look deep in your hearts and whatever your political affiliations are. I ask you to stand up and show us that you will speak up for our community to protect the constitutional rights that everyone that steps into this country, documented or not, deserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And speaker number 27, I believe this will be our last speaker, number 27. Thank you.
Good evening, City Council.
Good evening.
I wasn't really prepared to speak, but I was just encouraged to do so just by hearing so many comments. I think, I'm not into law, but I really feel that this is a very, very complex issue. We can, thankfully we live in a country that we have, our freedoms to speak and voice, and we have the freedom to protest. But unfortunately, what I think is going on is that there is a lot of disinformation out there mainly coming from mainstream media, and unfortunately from some of our city leaders. News stations are very biased. I've sat watching, the news in Spanish channels, and it just breaks my heart because it is extremely biased. It is so negative, and it is causing so much fear in our communities. I'm in healthcare. I see patients coming to the clinic. They don't even want to come and take care of their regular healthcare. They're delaying their healthcare because they are scared that if they come to see us to the clinic, they're going to be deported. So I believe that what is happening is that there is a lot of fear instilling in our communities. Our city members, say that, city leaders say that we care about our communities, and let's target the misinformation out there, because it's causing so much fear and anxiety and anger and division. Like, I see how we can't come together and just voice our opinion. Instead, we're attacking and insulting one another, and that is what the enemy wants, just to divide, because if we are a divided nation, we will not accomplish anything. We're falling apart, and we need to speak. And I have a strong faith in my Lord Jesus, and I have a faith, but one thing
Thank you. Thank you very much. That is our last speaker.
Move to close.
Is there a motion to second and close?
Second.
So moved and second, so ordered by the Mayor Pro Tem. And now is the time for consent calendar items. Are there any council members who would like to remove or abstain from an item? Hearing none, is there a motion and second to approve the consent calendar?
I move to approve as presented.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
We have no administrative reports this evening. Now would be the time for city council member announcements, requests for future agenda items, or conference meeting reports. I will start to my left with council member Ortiz.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you for every speaker that had the courage to come up here and speak and let us know what's going on in your own homes. I apologize if I get a little emotional. I have my two brothers with me right now, here to support me. This is something very emotional for me and my family. My family came from Mexico, immigrated here, and they worked really hard to give a bright future for me and my family. And all I can do in this position is work hard for them and what they given for me. And so that's my role. My role as an elected official is to give information out to you guys and speak when you guys can't speak. And so I'm here to help you guys out. I have a couple questions and a request from staff. So my first question is, I know that it's not allowed for us to make announcements when if ICE raids get here, but is it illegal for us to make announcements if they are here currently? So if, let's just say they are currently in certain businesses and we make an announcement saying, hey, just letting you know, ICE is present in our community, please be safe. I think that will go a long way in our community. I don't know if that's going a long way.
We cannot do that. That would be obstruction of justice.
Even if?
Yes, correct. We cannot do that.
And one thing, I know my colleague Claudia Formenta was telling us that, how can I support my council colleague, Mara Trujillo, on making an emergency meeting? And I'll tell you why I support that. I told you earlier, it's my job to give information. I'm doing the best I can. I got a immigration lawyer to do a podcast with me so I can give resources, information about what's going on. I know a lot of residents send me messages that I'm not a lawyer, so I hired, or I got this lawyer to come in to give information out to my community. I do think it's important that we have this emergency meeting, because I think we can do a lot more than we are doing right now. And so my idea was something to do a workshop with legal advice for individuals that are unable to get that advice, and provide resources. I know some communities have food banks, work with our nonprofits. I know we can do a lot more as a city council. And I hope I have the support from my council colleagues. We have how many nonprofits in our city? we have over 20 nonprofits. And so I think it's important that we unite, work together, and help our community out. There are a lot of people that are asking for help, and I'm doing my part to help my community out wherever I can, whether that's a peaceful protest. Chief, I just want to say thank you. Everybody saw your leadership, and I want to say thank you to our police department because you guys really showed true leadership during that peaceful protest, and I want to thank our community for exerting your First Amendment right. So thank you guys so much for that. With that, I conclude my comments for today.
Thank you, Councilman Ortiz. Councilwoman Afrometa.
Thank you, Councilmember Ortiz. Downey and Downey residents, thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for voicing your displeasure and your concerns to us. As a Mexican immigrant, let me finish.
Excuse me, please.
I am proud of my heritage, and I love this country that has given me so much. When people elected me to represent them, I took an oath to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States against enemies, foreign and domestic. I took an oath to uphold the laws of this nation. Yes, our Constitution protects everyone, undocumented individuals as well. I believe immigrants are a blessing to all nations. We, because I am an immigrant, contribute in significant ways. But we also must follow the laws of legal migration. I don't create federal law, and neither can I interfere with its enforcement. Over the last several days, a video taken on election night 2024 in my home on private property celebrating was posted on social media inadvertently by someone I know without my consent. That video was taken and then reposted thousands of times by other people. And then I was notified. I am not at all sorry that that video was out. What I experienced and what my family has been experiencing, you've elected me to be here, and you've elected me to represent you. And I do it honorably, and I want to continue to represent the city of Downey. That individual that posted that video was told what had occurred, and this individual immediately deleted it from his platform. By then, of course, this video had been shared hundreds of times. Now, cyberbullying has continued, not just against me, and I can take that. I can take that. I'm an elected official, I'm a public figure. But when that cyberbullying involves my family, my husband, my children, who did not sign up for this, and whatever the comments that have been posted in those videos and that have been reshared, I think it has 400,000 views on TikTok and Snapchat. And I don't have those platforms, but I'm told that contributes to dangerous rhetoric, instigating violence against elected officials or their families because of their political affiliation is a serious crime. I've said the definition of democracy is respecting other people's political views, even when they differ from your own. People have gone as far as harassing my child, who happens to be Ms. Downey and who happens to be underage, and posted her photo. How they got her photo, probably from my platform, but it's without my consent and without her consent. That is not okay. I'm here to represent you, and I'm here to listen to you. And I want to do whatever we can to See, I know some of you are shaking your heads, and whether you agree with me or not, I'm sorry. I'm not the perfect elected official. But I have to tell you that this polarization, this hatred between Democrats and Republicans is precisely what is tearing our country apart. That is why I mentioned, as Councilmember Trujillo earlier today mentioned, that we need to do more. Yes, we need to do more. I don't like to be put on the spot the way I did earlier, or we did earlier. Do we need to all collectively demand from our federal government and Congress to do immigration reform? Yes, that is the pathway. 40 years ago was when the last immigration reform took place. That immigration reform under President Reagan in 1986 did two things. One, individuals that were here in 1982 were given a path to citizenship immediately. And second, it also allowed for more protections. Do we need that? Absolutely. We, as a council, would be the first ones to vote on that. That is not within my purview. And I know that President Trump has not done all the things. I have not agreed with everything he has done or said. However, he is my commander-in-chief. When President Obama was in office, I didn't agree with everything he did, but he was my commander-in-chief. Same with President Biden. When I was mayor of the city of Downey and I attended the conference of mayors, I met with President Biden. We don't always agree with our elected leaders, but harassing me and being vile and expressing all this vitriol because I didn't join the protests like my council member Trujillo did, or council member Ortiz, and stood with you along Firestone Boulevard, doesn't mean I don't care about my community. We were, give me a moment, we were behind the scenes discussing, when I say we, the rest of the council, at different times, talking with our city manager about putting together a resources page for this community. When I say, and the police chief can attest to that, we don't have the information. Federal agents, when California became a sanctuary city by order of a governor in 2017, everything changed. All of the protections for illegal, undocumented individuals got stronger, not allowing local governments and law enforcement agencies to collaborate or communicate with federal agents. It doesn't mean that I don't want to help. If me waving a Mexican flag on Firestone Boulevard is what my community wanted.
We had American flags.
Excuse me.
Give me a minute. Harassing me, harassing my family on Instagram, on Facebook, on the various platforms. All of my children have been tagged and said really awful things. That's not okay. You can come here and tell me how displeased you are when I don't do something or I do something. But attacking me on a video that was uploaded without my consent, without my knowledge, not on my social media page, and then shared hundreds of times in a video that I, alongside 80 million people, celebrated, 80 million other Americans, including those in every swing state, voted for the current president, is not going to change. Harassing me because of that is not going to change the current immigration situation we have right now. My first call to action is let's flood our Congress people. They have the power to do immigration reform. It was tried in 2006, it was tried in 2013, but then Obama paused it because he wanted to do Obamacare instead. And then we had Biden, and then we had Trump. But these two political parties have been playing with us. And the congressional gridlock that we have seen is now having this trickle effect and is affecting us in local government. And as local officials, we are then bearing the front of that anger, of that vitriol, or that frustration. And that's unfortunately what is the defining feature of our current political system. And that's not okay. This is America. This is democracy. When my friends and colleagues from other offices, from other cities, waved and celebrated when Joe Biden won, I may not have been as happy, but I still celebrated with them because it's America. We have the freedom. We have the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, the freedom to peacefully assemble. That's why we celebrate. So coming after me because and vilifying me and saying it's not going to help the cause. It really isn't. Please, I implore you, rather than vilifying your local elected officials, you have an obligation to write to your Congress people. Congressman Robert Garcia and others in the state of California, they hold the power to work on immigration reform. Do we need immigration reform? Yes. Do I think those individuals that are part of DACA, those children that were brought in without their knowledge illegally, and they've been here for years, do I believe they need a path to citizenship? Absolutely. Why haven't we worked on that before? But here we are. Immigration reform is a complex issue. And I am sorry I did not react the way you expected me to react sooner. It is very difficult to tread on this immigration issue. Why? Because it's federal law. There's other council people around cities invoking different things, and they're outside of the law, by the way. If you Google some of the cities around us, they're embroiled in all kinds of chaos and scandals, and the FBI is already investigating them because they want to interfere with federal law. So as we voted earlier, we will have a conversation in closed session, and we will look at what we can do. Can we do more? Potentially, yes, within our purview. But don't you for a minute believe all those lies going on social media, because social media and the narrative that people push is dangerous. And those people sharing where I live and talking about where my daughter goes to work out, that is dangerous. And I am telling you, it's not okay. I went through this before in 2020 with BLM and the protest, and everybody crucified me because I didn't stand up for BLM. I stand up for everybody, folks. I'm sorry you feel that way. But, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, it's been very, very long comment, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
We all have needed comments. Thank you very much for that statement. Councilman Trujillo, council agenda items, other announcements?
I do agree that immigration reform is much needed, but like my colleague pointed out, we may never get it. So until then, I want to publicly condemn the aggressive, non-transparent federal immigration enforcement tactics that are being conducted in the boundaries of our city. While immigration is not within the purview of this council, children and families becoming afraid in our community is under the purview of this council. Families being torn apart, businesses being impacted in our communities because of these aggressive, non-transparent federal immigration enforcement tactics is hurting our community, and we have an obligation. We have said it time and time again. The number one thing that Downeyites want from us is protection. They want to be protected in their homes, in their streets, and their property. And right now, they're not feeling protected because you have an administration who doesn't know how to do the job. We've seen the Obama numbers. We've seen the Biden numbers. Of course we need ICE. Of course they have a job to do. Nobody's saying they shouldn't do their job. We're saying they need to do their job like the other administrations did it. And they told us that they were coming for the rapists, the undocumented drug dealers, the undocumented convicted felons, and they lied.
Excuse me, let our council member speak, please. Thank you.
And I'm so glad that people keep bringing up the Constitution and the fact that we are a law and order city, because as a law and order city, when you see masked men, and we don't know who they are, kidnapping people, we have to call it out. So even though he's our commander-in-chief, he's not a king. And if the commander-in-chief is not doing his job right, and the federal government, who I give tax money to, is not doing their job right, we need to call them out. And that's why there's litigation and different avenues that we hopefully will look into adopting, because we should not allow this federal agency to come to our city and go rogue. They are unhinged. They are violating the Constitution, 4th, 5th, 8th, 14th Amendments. I had the privilege of attending law school, and I adjured constitutional law. You can look it up, what it means to adjure constitutional law. I know about due process, or the lack thereof. One of the reasons why this administration is being attacked so vehemently about the way they're carrying out their tactics is they are violating the law. They are discriminating against brown individuals, all right? And I think we were targeted because we are 75 to 80% Latino. And if you have this quota to meet, where do you go find the Mexicans? So they are here because we are a Latino city. Let's just start with that. They're hitting all the predominantly Latino cities. That is called discrimination. And many of you don't like the word racism. You should go look it up in the dictionary. I studied sociology and Chicano studies at UC Berkeley. My emphasis was race relations. I have never seen such flagrant disregard for the law, and I was a 25-year prosecutor defending the members of my team, law enforcement officers, on 1538 motions against Joanna in the office, where they would question the officer's right to detain someone. Have you seen the way these people are being detained? That's a violation of the law, Classic 101. I wouldn't know how to defend those officers. Expect the lawsuits to come. We're not saying they should not do their job. Of course, we want undocumented people who pose a danger to us to be deported. Of course we do. That's not what they're doing. They're coming for the day laborers, the car washers, the servers, the cooks, and impacting our community, being disrespectful in how they do things in our city. So what I want from the federal government, I want them to do their job, and I want them to do their job right. Hopefully the people will fire them come the appropriate time for what they have done to us. But let's make no qualms about it. This city has not spoken up. We have provided some information, but that's not enough. So I'm so glad that we're going to meet so we can start figuring out what we are going to do to get the information as to why things are being conducted the way they are. We must let them know that this is not acceptable. So next time they need to meet their numbers, maybe they could figure out another way to do it. Look at how the previous administrations did it. So yes, let's come together. This is not necessarily a them versus us Republicans. This is nonpartisan. This is the fact that we have families that are being impacted, many of them U.S. citizens. 20-year-old Adrian Martinez and Pico Rivera is a classic case. What they are doing is not okay. People are quoting Anne Frank, for God's sake. I never imagined that I would be living through Operation Wetback 2.0. That's exactly what's going on. It's up to the community to speak up because this is not the American way. I believe in the Constitution. I took an oath to that Constitution. And the federal government, the commander-in-chief, apparently doesn't know whether he believes in the Constitution and has said he may not follow it. And we cannot stand for that as Americans. He is not a king, and he needs to be called out, and this administration and the department heads for everything they're doing. This is racist. Look up the definition, people. Look up the definition tonight when you go home of what racism is and of what discrimination is. How come I don't see the white Ukrainians being deported? It's not right. This is Downey, California. You're not, I for one am not gonna let the federal government come in here and take us hostage. I'm gonna speak up, we're gonna keep speaking up and see what we could do for our community. Stand together, people. This is the time when we gotta stand together and be good neighbors, but you gotta keep fighting. This system of government, our forefathers didn't trust government. You know why they set us a system of checks and balances? Our forefathers told us, don't trust government. Never put all the power in the hands of one king. And they came up with 3 branches. Don't trust government. It's what they told us. Because of things that this man in the White House is doing today. He's not to be trusted. The federal government is unhinged, and they're taking over our community, and I, for one, am not going to stand for it. So stick together, Downey. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Trujillo. So I would like to make, I'd just like to make a notice. Someone requested that I put this on the agenda. I'm not going to talk about other things, but FatherCon. FatherCon is this Saturday at the Downey Library. My friend Cecilia asked that I mention. Fathers read, kids succeed. Again, it's Saturday here at the library from 10:30 to 3 p.m. So that was my one announcement. And I too, we all want to voice our opinions. We want to do it in a way that we reach both sides. We want to see the middle ground. We want to see a solution. So for me, you know, I write everything out, and I have written some notes, and this is my 5th pass because I started this about a week ago. And so I'm just going to read to you my thoughts, my feeling, and who I am, because too many people do make assumptions. Too many people, if they don't hear what you are, they make the assumption, and that's not right. So there's already a lot that's been said. And you'll find very much similarities because of what everyone said. That's what's, I see the beauty of this, because we all do seem to have a single goal and objective. So what has transpired these past 2 weeks with immigration enforcement has shaken many immigrant families and communities, including Downey. This is something I've never seen living my entire life here. I first want to let you know that I am a first-generation American. My parents immigrated here in the 1940s from Europe after the war ended in Germany. Back then, there was a clear pathway for immigration. First, they had to have a sponsor in the States before they could come on a ship to New York. They were also vetted before given permission to enter the country by showing where they would live and where they would work. They each had relatives to house them and the promise of work. There was a system in place that worked. Once here, my parents worked hard at many jobs, learning the language, and worked on the pathways to citizenship. My mother eventually became a U.S. citizen, unlike my father. He was not able to. He was a legal resident and had a green card his entire life. He was a factory worker for General Motors in Southgate for 30 years. In 1959, they achieved the American dream and bought a house here in Downey, where I grew up. My parents were one of the millions of immigrants that built this nation and our small communities. Immigrants make many sacrifices to live in America, for a better life, and for their families. The United States and every country is founded on laws which we must follow and which must be enforced. Our Constitution grants each individual certain rights under these laws, especially due process. These rights must be followed to ensure fairness and equity for all. Immigration enforcement has been done by every administration in office. All administrations carried out the law. Most recently, the Clinton, Bush, and Obama administrations. And according to a chart that I looked at, shows the number on average, there were 1 million deportations each year during these 3 presidents. So deportation is not new. Each president was carrying out the law of the land. Back then, the way that administration carried out immigration enforcement was working. The method in which this administration is now doing it is causing chaos, stress, and fear in communities. We should continue the system of prior administrations that worked and was fair. As we've heard, we were told they would be getting the worst of the worst. We want the people in jails. The criminals in our prisons that came here illegally should be deported, which will make our country safer. I read it is happening in our prisons, and let it continue on that path. But what can we do here as individuals? You have already heard what cities and their law enforcement can and cannot do. Cities cannot interfere or assist with federal government immigration agents per Senate Bill 54, which took office, as you heard, in 2018, making California a sanctuary state. We can, as a city, inform our residents on their rights, offer resources by referring them to organizations, give them help to find legal services, and Downey has posted this several times on many different sites. But you as individuals, you can use your First Amendment rights to make your voices heard, which you have done. These protests were peaceful and respectful to local businesses in the area. The city and our local businesses appreciate the respect that they've had. Our small businesses in town and the surrounding cities need your support. So please stop by and patronize and visit them, have a meal, have a service done, or purchase items from them. Small businesses are struggling also, so let's support them financially. The true solution is to pass an immigration reform bill. We need a clear pathway for citizenship in this country for our immigrants. The first law for immigrants was in 1790 called the Naturalization Act. It required 2 years of residence in the country and good moral character. There were bills that followed, including one of the most powerful and impactful reforms under President Obama in 2012 called DACA. He took executive action to allow young adults who had been brought in the country illegally to apply for deportation relief and a work permit. This needs to be reinstated since its cancellation in 2017, and currently it has legal challenges. Let's make our voices heard with our representatives in Washington, D.C., in Congress, the Senate, all our legislators. We must create a system that allows those that have contributed for so many years here already a true pathway to permanent residency and citizenship that doesn't require years and years of waiting and thousands of dollars. So many immigrants are working and contributing to our cities and communities, our nation, who want to be documented. We need to help and give a pathway for them to stay. We have a broken immigration system, and it needs to be fixed by both Democrats and Republicans. We must have a clear pathway with a reasonable time frame for immigrants to enter this country legally and become citizens. America is a melting pot of all nationalities. And as I close, I just want to say, as we continue to navigate these uncertain times, know that we, as a city, stand by all our residents, including the immigrant community. Everyone contributes to the vibrancy of our community. Everyone has rights and should be treated respectfully. We will continue to work to keep our community and families safe. And those are my comments. City Manager Bradley, do you have any additional comments?
Only thing I have to add is earlier there was a question about our concert in the park. That will be going tomorrow. Just want to make sure that was clear. Other than that, it's all from staff.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Mayor Pro Tem, I failed to request 8019-8029 Florence Avenue in front of Las Palmitas, Los Sombreros. It's 20-minute parking. The traffic gridlocks. Residents are asking if we could make just that portion no parking 4 to 6. If we could look into that.
Just need a second. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Trujillo. The time is 9:23. The regular city council meeting is now adjourned in memory of Sheriff Deputy Marcos Pena Jr., 31, a 3-year veteran of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, and his female companion, who were struck and killed in a traffic accident after exiting their vehicle on the 101 freeway. Sergeant Sho Dang, 53, a 26-year veteran of the Los Angeles Police Department, who was struck by a vehicle after exiting his vehicle to assist with a collision on the 405 freeway. And former Downey Mayor Diane Boggs, who served on the Downey City Council from 1984 to 1996. I personally knew her, and I remember her up here. So let's please take a moment of silence. And we will take, we have another session to complete for a meeting. We will take a short 5-minute recess before calling to order the Special Community Development Commission Housing Successor Agency meeting. Thank you. I will now call to order. Whoops.
She won the money.
I will now call to order the Special Community Development Commission Housing Successor Agency meeting, open session. The time is 9:34. City Clerk Duarte, will you please call the roll?
Yes. Commissioner Frometa?
Present.
Commissioner Ortiz?
Present.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Here.
Vice Chair Pemberton?
Present.
And Chair Sosa is excused.
Okay. Now is the time for public comment. I remind speakers that this public comment period is reserved for comments about the items listed under the special meeting agenda. I would like to remind members of the audience that the city's meeting rules contained in the Downey Municipal Code prohibit any conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. If you did not obtain a number and wish to speak, please proceed to the back of the room and the city staff will issue you a blue number card. Lining up during the public comment will not be permitted, and each speaker should remain in their seat until their number is called. Do I need this with seats? I'll continue. The time clock will begin when you begin your comments. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the council unless modified by the Mayor Pro Tem. City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written public comment regarding special meeting items to be incorporated into the record?
We did not, Vice Chair.
Okay, thank you. City Clerk, how many speakers have taken a number?
We have one, Vice Chair.
One. Speaker number 1, please come forward. Gosh, and I thought Bruce was going to run up here.
Not his subject matter. Lee Squire, retired BREF Financial Services Manager, Affordable Housing Advocate. My first puzzling comment is basically Housing Successor Agency minutes for March the 26th, 2019, being, I guess, approved tonight is okay. My first question is, if this is a legal entity, the Housing Successor Agency, I don't understand why, if you adopt an annual budget in June, why you can't be having an annual meeting every year instead of, like it looks like the last time was like 5 years ago, or even longer. Also, when I looked at it, looking at the agreement, I noticed that it says basically you have to adopt this, I guess, by June 30th in order to legally encumber the funds. Legally encumbering means basically legally obligated, but it doesn't mean you have to spend them at the same time. I also have a problem is why are we moving up to $2 million from the Housing Successor Agency into the General Fund 110? It makes this money extremely hard to track. I'd like to know legally if you can move the money into a city fund and consider it spent, why you don't just adopt a city housing fund so that we can legally track the use of this money. Again, I just want to say that to move housing funds into your general fund, on the record, I object because it makes this money extremely hard to track, but I look forward to the audits in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Squire. Is there a motion and a second to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
So ordered by the Mayor Pro Tem. Now is the time for the consent calendar items. Is there any commissioners who would like to remove or abstain from an item? Is there a motion and second to approve that consent calendar?
I move to approve, Mayor Pro Tem.
Second.
Thank you. Please vote.
The motion is approved unanimously.
The special city council meeting is now adjourned.